Chapter 300. Sima Yue was rather curious about this as well, so she stared at Sima Yuran, waiting for him to explain it to everyone. Sima Yuran smiled, saying, "Because this is the headquarters of the various powers. Most people don't dare to do things like killing and robbing here. As for those who came in to trade, they would be protected by this place. Even if those people wanted to do anything to him, they wouldn't be able to. In other words, the grudges of the outside world cannot be brought in here. Even if this person stole from others and was hunted down by others, as long as he entered this place, he is not allowed to kill. Once that robber sells the items here, those people won't rob him anymore." Fatty Chu said, "You can understand it that way." Sima Yuran nodded. "Then wouldn't there be a lot of treasures here?" Fatty Chu's eyes lit up. Some people had treasures in their possession, but they didn't dare to reveal it outside, because if they were coveted by others, not only would they not be able to keep their treasures, they would also lose their lives. However, things were different here. As long as he disguised himself, he could easily get rid of the treasures in his hands. There are many treasures, but there are also some people who see that everyone is in the mood and take out inferior or fake goods to pretend to be superior or genuine goods. Sima Yuran said, "Nobody cares about this?" Wei Ziqi asked. "After entering, all transactions are voluntary. If you buy a fake or something, you can only blame yourself for not being observant enough and not being able to see the essence of the goods." When they heard what Sima Yuran said, everyone was speechless. Wasn't this creating this kind of atmosphere? Their beast carriages ran for an hour before they reached the central area. When they arrived, the streets were densely packed with beast carriages. Fortunately, the roads here were spacious. A single street could allow 20 beast carriages to travel at the same time. Otherwise, this place would have been jammed. Due to Sima Yue's request, the coachman brought them to the nearest market. Then he waited outside while the others went in. Standing at the entrance of the market, Sima Yue and the rest were surprised to see so many people entering and exiting the market. "This is the free trade market. It's no different from those shops," Sima Yue said. The door looked like an ordinary loft, and the outside was similar to other shops. Just as they were about to enter, they saw Sima Yue and the rest standing at the door. She said, "Are you all new to the sacred city?" Sima Yue and the rest turned their heads to look at the two middle-aged men. From their bloody aura, they could tell that they were people who often went through life and death situations. "This is indeed the first time we've come to Saint City. We heard about this free market, so we wanted to take a look," Sima Yuran said with a smile. "As expected, it's your first time here. The two of us want to go in as well. You can come with us to take a look," the fairer middle-aged man said. "Thank you, uncle." Sima Yue and the rest followed the two of them into the shop. As soon as they entered, they noticed the difference between this shop and the other shops. Most shops would place their goods neatly on the shelves, but here, rows of people were sitting on the ground. They casually pulled a piece of cloth and placed it on the ground. Then there were scattered items on it. Some of them had the items that they wanted to exchange for written on it. There are a total of 4 floors here. Each time, it can accommodate thousands of people setting up stalls here. The higher you go, the more valuable the items are, the fair-skinned middle-aged man explained. "Since it's your first time here, you can start walking slowly from the first floor. We want to go upstairs, so we won't be going with you." "Okay, thank you, uncle." The two middle-aged men obviously came to this place often. They knew that the items they needed or wanted to sell were of high quality, so they went upstairs directly. "Let's walk around as well," Sima Yuming said. The group of them walked around the first floor. Sima Yue saw quite a few medicinal ingredients, but they weren't very valuable. There were also a few pills and spirit tools, but they were of average quality and didn't catch their eye. They quickly finished walking around the first floor, because they didn't see anything good. They just walked around. Very quickly they went to the second floor. Just like what the two middle-aged men said, the items here were more valuable than the ones below. However, they still didn't catch their eye. They finished walking around the second floor very quickly and went to the third floor. The items here were of higher quality. Occasionally, they would stop in their tracks. However, they didn't buy much. Only Fatty Chu chose a few materials for refining tools. On the fourth floor, they met the two middle-aged men. When they saw that they had come up so quickly, they said with some surprise, "You finished walking around the lower 3 floors so quickly? The items below are very average, so we walked around rather quickly." Sima Yuran said with a smile. When the two of them heard this, they immediately understood. They were definitely not average people. The things they usually came in contact with were not ordinary. That was why they didn't care about the things below. This is just a small market. If you want to find good things, you can go to a bigger one. The fair-skinned middle-aged man said. Are the other markets better than this one? Sima Yulo asked. Of course. The market is also divided into grades. First, second, and third. This is the third grade, the lowest grade. The things here definitely can't compare to those in other markets. The middle-aged man explained patiently. Then which markets are of a higher grade? Sima Yuming asked. The closer to the center, the higher the grade. There are 3 first-grade markets. They are under the Alchemist Guild, Armament Master Guild, and Beast Tamer Guild. If you're interested, you can go there to take a look. Okay, thank you for your guidance, uncle. After that, Sima Yu and the others walked around the 4th floor. They saw quite a few high-grade herbs, but there were still many of them in the Spirit Pagoda. So they didn't make a move. What Sima Yu found interesting was that when they were about to leave, they saw a stalk of scarlet rhinoceros grass. This kind of medicinal ingredient was usually green, but after 200 years, it would turn scarlet red. At this time, the medicinal properties would undergo an earth-shattering change. A young man was squatting in front of the stall, haggling with the peddler about the price of this herb. 3,000 gold coins. Otherwise, no further discussion. The peddler's attitude was firm. That young man seemed to really need this herb, but he didn't bring that much money when he came out. His face was red as he begged the peddler to lower the price. Boss, if you lower the price a bit, I'll buy it for you. 3,000 gold coins, no less. The peddler said, Look, this is a red rhinoceros grass. Do you need me to tell you how much it's worth? If you don't want it, there will naturally be others who want it. I didn't bring enough money, but I really need this rhinoceros grass. Help me keep it for a while. I'll go back and get the money. I'll be back soon. That won't do. If I meet someone who wants it and gives a high price, I'll sell it. The peddler said. Then what should I do? The young man was about to cry. How about this? If you can give me 3,500 gold coins, I'll keep it for you. The young man gritted his teeth, saying, Okay. At this time, a white slender hand stretched out and picked up the rhinoceros grass. Chapter 301. Sima Yue squatted on the ground and picked up the rhinoceros grass. She looked at the boss and asked, How much is this rhinoceros grass? When the peddler saw Sima Yue's clothes and aura, he could tell that she was rich. 3,500 gold coins. The peddler said with a smile. The young man beside him became anxious and said, Didn't you just agree to sell it to me for 3,000 gold coins? But you don't have the money, and you said that I would only keep it for you if the price is above 3,500. Now that this young master wants it, I can only sell it to him for 3,500. The peddler said confidently. Sima Yue smiled and said, Your rhinoceros grass is worth at most 800 gold coins. Young master, please don't speak nonsense. 800 gold coins can only buy ordinary rhinoceros grass. Mine is crimson red, and is over 200 years old. The peddler hurriedly explained. Yeah, this is just an ordinary rhinoceros grass. It's only worth 800 gold coins. Sima Yue said with certainty. Nonsense. Can't you see its color? The peddler roared, raising his voice to hide his guilt. You dyed this color, Sima Yue said. Don't slander me. Does my rhinoceros grass look like it was dyed red? Look at the rhizome. The leaves are all red. Will it be dyed like this? The peddler pinched off a leaf. Indeed, even the insides were red. I don't know how you dyed the leaves red, but I think there's something you don't know. Rhinoceros grass that is more than 200 years old will have a red line on its leaves, but you don't have it. Sima Yue pointed at the leaves. What thin thread? You haven't seen it before, so how would you know? The peddler said. How do you know that I haven't seen it before? Sima Yue asked with a smile. The peddler saw the smile on her face and felt a little scared. This guy couldn't have really seen the red rhinoceros grass, right? Does the scarlet rhinoceros grass really have that red line? The young man asked. Yes, Sima Yue said. Seeing that the other party still refused to admit it, she said, "Seems like you won't give up until you see the coffin." She directly cut off the rhinoceros grass's stem, and there was still a bit of emerald green at the roots. My rhinoceros grass. The vendor did not expect Sima Yue to do that, but it was too late to stop her. Sima Yue threw the grass in her hand to the ground, stood up and clapped her hands, saying, "No matter what you do, the roots won't turn completely red." The peddler's face turned ugly. "How dare you lie to me?" The young man angrily rebuked. "Fortunately, I haven't bought your rhinoceros grass, otherwise, I would have been killed by you." "Listen to me," the peddler explained. "Flyer, don't buy from him anymore." The young man shouted and turned around to look for Sima Yue, but she had already left. After Sima Yue exposed the truth, she turned around and left with everyone. Just as she stepped out of the door, someone called out to her, "Brother, please wait." Sima Yue recognized the man's voice and stopped to ask, "Is there anything I can help you with?" The man walked in front of Sima Yue and bowed to her, saying, "Thank you, brother. Otherwise I would have bought a fake red rhinoceros grass." "You're welcome. I'm just not used to seeing fake things," Sima Yue said. "No matter what, I still have to thank you," the man said. "May I ask if you've seen red rhinoceros grass before?" "Yes," Sima Yue said. "There were many in the spirit pagoda." "May I know if you have it?" "Yes." Hearing Sima Yue's words, the man's eyes lit up and said excitedly, "I urgently need a stalk of red rhinoceros grass. May I know if you can sell it to me? I'm willing to buy it at a high price." "Someone in your family is injured?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes, a month ago my brother's arm was burned by Li Mu, and he needs this rhinoceros grass to heal his injury," the man said. "Li Mu? The one from the Alchemist's Guild?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes, that's him," the man said. "My name is Lu Yuan and my brother is Lu Ming. My brother is from the Alchemist's Guild, and because he went against Li Mu, he was burned by him. He has been looking for red rhinoceros grass for a long time to heal his injury. Can't burns be cured with healing elixirs? Why is it still not healed after so long?" Sima Yue had never encountered such a situation. Because Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame, ordinary healing elixirs are useless. Lu Yuan's face was full of anger. Sima Yue remembered that she had mentioned before that it was not easy to heal burns from other flames. She was suddenly interested. Although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. "Why haven't you found it yet?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes, those big medicine shops do have it. However, that Li Mu's position in Saint City is very high. He said that no one can buy rhinoceros grass from us. Otherwise, we would be going against him. That's why we can't buy rhinoceros grass from the medicine shops. We can only come to this kind of free market to try our luck. Today we finally found it, but we didn't expect it to be fake. Why don't you go to the big markets?" Sima Yue asked. "Those big markets are all opened by the various guilds." Lu Yuan's words were full of bitterness. Because they were opened by the various guilds, they had to give face to Li Mu. That's why even if they had it, they wouldn't sell it to him. Li Mu is just a fourth-ranked alchemist. How can he have so much face that all the guilds are willing to help him? Fatty Chu asked. Although he's just a fourth-ranked alchemist, he has a close relationship with Vice President Qian. He also has relatives who are elders. Furthermore, his talent is very good. He's deeply appreciated by the other guilds. Naturally, no one wants to offend an alchemist with such potential. Lu Yuan said helplessly. "I'm quite interested in your brother's injury. Can I go take a look?" Sima Yue asked. Our family's situation is very bad right now. It's better if you don't get involved with our family at this time. If others see you with us, it might bring you danger." Lu Yuan tactfully declined. "It's okay. In any case, we're already enemies with that Li Mu. As the saying goes, the enemy of an enemy is a friend. Let's go take a look at our friend. Let's go." Lead the way. Sima Yue didn't take Li Mu seriously at all. Lu Yuan saw Sima Yue's insistence and agreed to bring them to his house. Sima Yue didn't think that the Lu family was actually in the central district. She was even more curious about their family. One had to know that even the first-ranked powers couldn't live in the central district. But a normal family could live here. This meant that they had the right to live here. At that time, they must have been a very prosperous family. Their status surpassed the first-ranked powers. Chapter 302. But when they stood in front of a dilapidated courtyard, they couldn't connect this once glorious family together. It was just a very small courtyard, like one of the courtyards in the Sima family's mansion. There wasn't even a door plate of the mansion. Lu Yuan saw the surprise in Sima Yue and the other's eyes, and felt a little helpless. However, he still said politely, "Everyone, this is my home. Please." They walked in, and a 16 or 17-year-old girl, who looked a lot like Lu Yuan, came out of the house. When she saw Lu Yuan coming back with 8 strangers, she said in surprise, "Brother, who are they?" "This is my twin sister Lu Yuan." Then he looked at the quiet courtyard and asked, "Sister, this is a friend I met outside. They came to see second brother. Where's big brother?" Lu Yuan's face fell as she said, "Big brother saw that we couldn't find the 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. After you left this morning, he said that he wanted to go outside the city to take a look." Lu Yuan panicked when he heard that and said, "Is big brother really going there? How can this be? What's wrong?" Fatty Chu asked when he saw how anxious Lu Yuan was. "When big brother and I went to the mountains in the past, we came across a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass, but it was near the lair of a 5th-level divine beast. If we were not careful, we would alert the divine beast. At that time, not to mention digging for the rhinoceros grass, big brother's life would be in danger," Lu Yuan explained. Lu Yuan was shocked when she heard that. She covered her mouth with both hands and tears were about to fall from her eyes. She looked at Lu Yuan and asked, "Brother, what should we do? Will something really happen to big brother? You haven't been out for long, so he shouldn't have gone far. You can stop him now," Sima Yue said. "It's too late. Big brother has 2 contracted beasts. They're both extremely fast spirit beasts. I've been out for the entire morning. He's probably already out of the holy city by now. When he was outside, he had a flying beast. By the time we caught up, he might already be in the mountains," Lu Yuan said anxiously. "I don't care anymore. I have to find big brother no matter what. Second brother is already injured. We can't let big brother get injured as well." Cough, cough. At this moment, the door to one of the bedrooms opened and a pale-faced man walked out. His hand was still wrapped in bandages. It was the second son of the Lu family, Lu Ming. "Third brother, go and stop big brother immediately. You must bring him back safely." Lu Ming held the door with his left hand and looked at Lu Yuan. "Second brother, your body is so weak. Why did you come out?" Lu Yuan went up to support Lu Ming. "I'm fine. Third brother, go quickly," Lu Ming shouted anxiously. "I'll go now," Lu Yuan replied. Then he said to Sima Yue and the others, "I'm really sorry. There are divine beasts that are as powerful as spirit paragons. If your brother goes there and you go there alone, you might be in danger." Sima Yue said, "Even if it is, I still want to go. Even if I have to sacrifice my life, I will bring big brother back." Lu Yuan said firmly, "How about this, eldest brother, you guys go with him." Sima Yu said to Sima Yu Ming and the others. "All right." Sima Yu Ming and the others sympathized with these brothers. If they let him go alone, these 2 brothers might really lose their lives in the mountain. No need, it's so dangerous there. Lu Yuan had not even finished his words when he was interrupted. Sima Yu went up and hugged him, saying, "If you don't go now, it might really be too late." Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi also followed, leaving behind Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang. "I wonder how I should address the 2 of you," Lu Ming asked as he walked over with Lu Yuan's support. "Sima Yue, Bei Gongtang." Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue and asked, "You're from the Sima family?" "That's right," Sima Yue said. "What have you guys come here for today?" Lu Ming's expression was ugly as he said, I've already said that our family's inheritance has long been broken. Even if you came, you wouldn't be able to find anything. Or do you want to be like those people, and come here to move things? Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were stunned, saying, What move things? Aren't you here to move things? Lu Yuan looked at the two of them and asked. No, we met Lu Yuan in the free market. We saw that he wanted to buy a stalk of rhinoceros grass that was not old enough. So we reminded him. Sima Yue said. After that, he asked me for a stalk of rhinoceros grass. I happened to be interested in your sadness, so I wanted to come and take a look. Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue from head to toe, saying, Oh right, the Sima family doesn't have you guys in the younger generation here. You guys just came to Saint City, right? Sima Yue didn't expect Lu Ming to guess it so quickly and nodded, saying, That's right, we just came yesterday. We've never been here before. Then you'd better leave quickly. The Sima family already has a tense relationship with the Alchemist Guild. If you get involved with us, I'm afraid it will affect your relationship. Lu Ming said. Are you talking about the matter between you and Li Mu? Sima Yue wasn't nervous at all. She looked at the dilapidated courtyard. It was really simple, and there were many traces of things being moved. It seemed that a lot of things had been moved recently. You know Li Mu? Lu Ming was a little surprised, but then he said with understanding, That's right, third brother should have told you about us. No, we knew each other at Dragon Reflection Mountain. We beat up the geniuses of the Alchemist Guild, so our relationship isn't very good now. Sima Yue said, Aren't you going to invite us in to have a seat? Lu Ming looked at Sima Yue with some surprise and said, Please, the two of you. They came to the so-called living room, where there were only a few stools left. The things have been moved away, so you guys have to make do with it. Fourth sister, make a cup of tea for the two guests. Lu Ming saw that Sima Yue and the others didn't put on any airs, so they shouldn't mind this. Lu Yuan stood where she was, her face a little red. She said in a low voice, Second brother, there's no more tea at home. Lu Ming was stunned, and then he felt a little sad, but he still smiled and said, I'm really sorry. In order to treat my injuries, Big Brother and the others have already left the house bare. It's okay. We didn't come here to drink your tea. It's the same if you give us 2 cups of water, Sima Yue said. Actually, she didn't want to drink water, but in order to ease their awkwardness she said it. Okay, wait a moment, Lu Yuan said and left. Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming's right hand and said, I heard that Li Mu's flame is not an ordinary flame. How can a burn heal for a month? Yes, Lu Yuan nodded. Every time I take a pill, my arm will heal for a while, but it will soon become like this again. Then can I see your arm? Sima Yue asked. Chapter 303. Lu Ming was silent for 2 seconds before saying, This arm is a little scary right now. Let's forget about it. Read the latest chapter, 1st edition, volume 1. I'm a doctor. Maybe I can cure your injury. Sima Yue said. Lu Ming shook his head and said, You can't cure it. Wherever Li Mu's flames burned, they would leave behind fire elements that could neither be expelled nor extinguished. This kind of fire element can only be sucked out by its owner, and can only be cured with rhinoceros grass that is over 200 years old. The fire element will stay in your body. It was Sima Yue's first time hearing this. Yes, the amount of pills I've taken this month is enough for a normal burn victim to be reborn. However, in this case, the newly grown flesh will be burned away by the fire element in the body in less than an hour, Lu Ming explained. At this time, Lu Yin came in with 2 cups of water and said, Although this 200-year-old rhinoceros grass is rare, it's not impossible to find. But that Li Mu actually forbade the people of Sheng City from selling it to us, causing Big Brother and Third Brother to have to go into the mountains to look for it. How despicable. Now that things have come to this, I'll just cut off one of my arms, as long as they can come back alive. Lu Ming said. How can that be? Lu Yuan said. Your talent in alchemy is so good. If you cut off one of your arms, how are you going to refine pills in the future? I already feel bad for dragging the 3 of you down, Now that big brother is in danger. As long as our family is safe, I can survive even if I only have one arm. No matter what price we have to pay, we will cure you. Don't forget, you still have to shoulder the heavy responsibility of reviving the Lu family. Lu Yuan was very determined at this time. Cough cough. Although Sima Yue was touched by their sibling relationship, she could not ignore their presence at this time. Only then did Lu Ming and Lu Yuan remember that they were still there. They smiled apologetically at them. I promised Lu Yuan that if you let me take a look at your injuries, I'll provide you with a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. Sima Yue said as she took out a rhinoceros grass. Rhinoceros grass, the Lu siblings exclaimed when they saw the herb in Sima Yue's hand. Can I take a look at your injuries now? Sima Yue looked at Lu Ming and asked. All right, this time he agreed. Because even if he didn't show it to her now, he would still open it later when he had to treat his injuries. Lu Yuan bent down and removed the bandage on Lu Ming's hand. A forearm that was charred black from the fire appeared in front of everyone. It was a good thing that Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang had strong hearts. So although they were shocked by this injury, they were not scared silly. Sima Yue walked over to check and said, there are indeed remnants of fire elements. But it's better than I expected. That's because although Li Mu's fire isn't an ordinary fire, its level isn't very high. It's not one of those outstanding deviant flames. Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan looked at Sima Yue's serious look and asked, Young Master Sima, do you have a way to save my second brother? This fire element isn't very high. Otherwise, this rhinoceros grass would be useless. Sima Yue said. Your brother's injury isn't too big of a problem. It'll heal in a while. It'll heal in a while? Xia Yuan grabbed onto Sima Yue's clothes excitedly. Really? Sima Yue nodded and split the rhinoceros grass into two. She gave the roots to Bei Gongtang and asked her to refine a pill. Then, she asked Lu Yuan to fetch a basin of water. After that, she released a flame and directly refined the remaining rhinoceros grass into its essence. When it was almost done, she retracted the flame, and the essence fell into the basin of water. She reached her hand into the basin and stirred it a few times, saying, Put the injured area into the water. Lu Ming nodded and walked over to place his hand into the basin. The burning pain in his arm felt a cooling sensation, making him feel incomparably comfortable. Activate the spiritual energy in your body and absorb the essence in the water. Sima Yue said from the side. Actually, Lu Ming knew what to do even without her reminder. Very quickly, the basin of water became clear again. Second brother, how is it? Lu Yuan stared at him and asked. Lu Ming took out his hand and said, I can't feel the burning anymore. He felt his arm and said happily, The fire element is almost gone. There's only a few left attached to my bones and meridians, but it's very little. At this time, Bei Gongtang had also finished refining the pill and let Lu Ming take it. After a while Lu Ming said, The fire element has been completely cleared. Really? That's great. Lu Yuan was so excited that she almost jumped up. Sima Yue gave him another pill and let him take it. Very quickly, the charred flesh on Lu Ming's arm fell off, and new flesh grew continuously. This pill is even more effective than the one second brother took before, Lu Yuan said with a smile. When Sima Yue had just arrived in this world, the first time she took a third-ranked healing pill, she was able to recover quickly. Now that the pill was of a higher rank, the effects would naturally be better and faster. The fire element on my arm is gone, so the effects of the pill are better now, Lu Ming said. Lu Yuan stared at Lu Ming's arm. Previously, his arm would grow some new flesh, but it would be burnt to a crisp again. However, Lu Ming had no choice but to do so, or else the fire element would burn his bones and meridians. Seeing their own brother endure this kind of torture again and again, the Lu siblings were heartbroken. Lu Ming knew his sister's thoughts and used his other hand to pat her head, smiling and saying, Don't worry, it won't happen this time. Lu Yuan nodded, her eyes filled with tears. Lu Ming's spirit was completely different from when they first met. It was as if he had come back to life. He bowed to Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang saying, Thank you for your help. However, we don't have anything to repay you anymore. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't like that Li Mu, so helping you is nothing. Sima Yue waved her hand carelessly. Furthermore, I said that I would give you the rhinoceros grass if you let me take a look at your injuries, so you don't have to feel anything. Then I still have to thank you, Lu Ming said. Why are you able to stay in the central district? Sima Yue asked, successfully changing the topic. Lu Ming sighed, saying, although our Lu family has always been few in number, we are still considered an alchemy family. Our great-grandfather was once the great elder of the Alchemists Guild. Because of his profound attainments in alchemy, we were allowed to stay in the central district. However, our family was framed by the Li family, and our great-grandfather died in an accident while refining pills. The other great-uncles also met with misfortune. Until now, only the 4 of us are left. Chapter 304. Lu Ming's words were simple, but Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang could see prosperity and decline from his words. Is the Li clan Li Mu's clan? Bei Gongtang asked. Yes, Lu Ming said. The Li family is a large family in the northern Yin kingdom, and is also an alchemy family. My great-grandfather was once at odds with the Li family. After he passed away, the Li family has been targeting us. So it's not a coincidence that Li Mu injured you this time, Sima Yue said while stroking her chin. Yes, because my talent is not bad, I entered the Alchemists Guild. But after I entered, I was constantly suppressed by Li Mu, and was even injured by him. When Lu Ming mentioned Li Mu, anger flashed across his face. By the way, isn't this your first time in Xing City? Why are you at odds with Li Mu? When we were at Dragon Reflection Mountain, he brought people to cause trouble for us. I gave him a good beating. Sima Yue said. No, I beat up his follower Wu Feng so badly that even his mother couldn't recognize him. Then I beat him in alchemy. You defeated Li Mu? Lu Ming exclaimed. Yeah, it's a piece of cake, Sima Yue said. Lu Ming and his sister looked at her as if she was a monster. They grew up in Xing City and naturally knew Li Mu's strength. She actually defeated him so easily. How powerful was she? I saw that there were many traces of movement outside. What's going on? Bei Gongtang asked. It's all because of those bat people. They wanted us to hand over our family's secret alchemy technique. We couldn't take it out, so they said that we hid it in these things. They took away all of our fake mountains and furniture. Other than these few stools, everything else was taken away. Lu Yin said hatefully. Who are those people? Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang were speechless. No wonder there was nothing here. Who else could it be? It's Li Mu's henchmen. Lu Ming clenched his fists. One day, I will trample them all under my feet. Let's return all the humiliation they gave us. Aren't those people afraid of Big Brother? Every time Big Brother goes out to find medicinal ingredients for Second Brother, they would come and snatch our things, wanting to drive us out of Sacred City. Xia Yuan said. But why haven't they come back yet? Could something have happened? Don't worry, they'll be fine, Sima Yue said confidently. Sima Yue and the others contracted beasts were very fast as well. They should be able to stop him. Bang! The Lu family's main door was suddenly kicked open. A few ruffians came in from outside and said, Lu family, have you thought it through? Are you going to hand over the secret technique or not? Those people are here again. Lu Yun stomped her feet and ran out. When she saw them, she scolded. You guys are here again. What are you doing here? You've already robbed everything from our house. We didn't get anything from you, so of course we have to come. You guys are despicable. Say it, are you going to hand it over or not? The leader asked. I've already told you a few hundred times. We don't have it. If you want to find trouble, we'll keep you company, Lu Yun said domineeringly. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Since you're not willing to hand it over, we'll continue to move things back to study it. We don't have anything left for you to move. Is that so? The leader looked around and realized that there was nothing left in the courtyard. Finally, his gaze landed on the house, saying, Come, tear down the house and bring it back. Who dares? Lu Ming came out from the house and glared at them. The few of them saw that the injury on Lu Ming's hand had already healed, and were surprised. However, they smiled. I didn't think that your hand would actually heal. Looks like you found a 200-year-old rhinoceros grass. However, Lu Ming, even if you've healed, you're not our opponent. I advise you to quickly hand over the secret technique and get out of Sacred City. If you do, we can spare your life. What if I don't hand it over? Lu Ming said coldly. If you don't hand it over, we'll tear down your house today. After that, we'll cripple you and throw you out. Such arrogance. Sima Yue snorted coldly. She and Bei Gongtang walked out, and were seen by the leader. His eyes immediately widened, and his saliva flowed out. It's fine if you don't hand it over today. Give that woman to us, and we'll go back. We'll give you a few days to consider. Don't even think about it, Lu Ming scolded. You've got guts, daring to have ideas about your great-aunt. Bei Gongtang snorted coldly. Beauty, it's better for you to come with us. You'll only be able to stay in Sacred City if you come with us. The man looked at Bei Gongtang lecherously. You want me to go with you? Bei Gongtang's cold gaze was as if she was looking at a few dead people, saying, I'm afraid that if I dare to go with you, you won't be able to live with me. Sima Yue walked over and hugged Bei Gongtang's waist, saying, I hate it the most when people covet my woman. Do you think I should gouge out your eyeballs or cripple you and throw you out? Ha ha ha, such arrogance. In Sacred City, not many people dare to say such things. The man laughed loudly. The lackeys behind him also laughed. Is that so? Then you'll hear it today. Sima Yue said. It doesn't matter if you're here to rob the Lu family or to take my woman away. It's best that you leave before I get angry. The man was stunned by Sima Yue's aura. However, he was still a local. Thinking about his own background, he calmed down and said, Brat, I'm Li Mu's subordinate. If you dare to make a move against us, are you trying to go against Li Mu? Sima Yue looked at the sky and said, Since you don't cherish the chance I gave you, then I'll grant you your wish. After she finished speaking, she moved. Before anyone could react, she was already in front of them. She lifted her leg and kicked those people. Pung, pung, pung. Those people were all kicked to the ground. Each of them held their stomachs and cried out in pain. Sima Yue walked over and stepped on the leader's stomach, saying, I hate two things now. The first is when people have ideas about me and the people around me. The second is when people say that they're Li Mu's men in front of me. Do you understand? Brat, if you have the ability, tell me your name. If you dare to not put Li Mu in your eyes, you won't be able to stay in Sacred City anymore. That person said with a grimace. Is that so? Then go back and tell Li Mu that I, Sima Yue, am here. Hurry up and call me boss. Scram. After she finished speaking, she kicked all of them out. Brat, just you wait. Those people shouted and ran away. Junior brother, you're really rude. A gentle voice came from the roof. Chapter 305. Sima Yue clapped her hands and looked at the person on the rooftop. Why are you here? I was passing by and happened to hear your voice, so I came to see what was going on. Otherwise, when I see Master saying that you were bullied, I, as your senior brother, won't stand up for you. Wu Lingyu came down from the roof and said with a smile. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. She did not believe him. Who is this? Lu Ming asked when he saw Wu Lingyu's extraordinary bearing, noble and holy. I'm his senior, Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Wu Lingyu? This name sounds familiar. Lu Yin tilted her head and thought. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was startled. With a straight face, he bowed towards Wu Lingyu and said, Greetings, Your Highness the Holy Sun. No need. Wu Lingyu waved his hand. Holy Sun. I remember now. That day when third brother came back, he said that a holy sun had come up. So it was you, Lu Yin said in surprise. I never thought that we would be able to see holy sun with our own eyes. Wu Lingyu nodded at her, then looked at Sima Yue and asked, Junior, why are you here? Sima Yue told him what had happened, which made Wu Lingyu frown. Your Highness Holy Sun, young Master Sima, young Mistress Bei Gong, let's go inside, Lu Ming said, embarrassed to let them stand in the courtyard. They did not expect Sima Yue to be Wu Lingyu's junior. Since she had such a strong background, they were not worried that she would be harmed by Li Mu. Wait, someone's coming. Go in after you're done. Sima Yu replied. Before the siblings could react, a group of people kicked the door open and barged in. Who is Sima Yue? Come here and die. The person shouted as soon as he entered. Seeing the people in the courtyard, he asked, which one of you is Sima Yue? You've called for reinforcements so quickly. Sima Yue looked at the people behind them. You dare to bring people here to cause trouble? Looks like I didn't beat you up to your heart's content. The leader of the group looked at Sima Yue and said, Don't be smug. Now that my big and big are here, they'll kill you. As soon as they ran out of here, they saw their boss after 2 streets. They told him about how they were beaten up, and their boss immediately rushed over with his men. Calm Sima Yue. I'll take you down first. The leader condensed his spiritual energy as he spoke. He was a spiritual grandmaster. Sima Yu moved and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye, kicking him out as well. Bang! Yue. Everyone was dumbfounded. Their big boss couldn't even take one hit from her. Sima Yue didn't look at their big boss. She chopped, slashed, kicked, and stomped. More than a dozen people were all taken down by her within a minute. She clapped her hands and looked down at them condescendingly. I told you, you're not strong enough to kill me. Who's causing trouble in my house? A rough roar came from outside the door. Then a figure rushed in. Big brother! Lu Yuan shouted happily when she saw the person who came in. Second brother, fourth sister, are you okay? Luffy saw the people in the courtyard and knew that they were here to cause trouble again. These people always came to cause trouble when he wasn't around. By the time he came back, his younger siblings were already being bullied. Big brother, we're fine. Didn't you meet third brother and the others? Lu Yuan asked. I did, Luffy said. If he hadn't met them, he might not have been able to walk out of 10,000 Beast Mountain. Just as he finished speaking, Lu Yuan also ran in. Seeing the figures on the ground, he said in surprise, Second brother, are you okay? We're fine. Lu Ming shook his head. These people are here again. Lu Yuan kicked the people on the ground twice. Then Sima Yue and the others came in from outside. When they saw the people in the courtyard, they frowned. Second brother, your hand is better. Lu Yuan saw that Lu Ming's hand was no longer black and ran over happily. Yes, it's already healed. Lu Ming smiled. He thought that he would have to break his own arm. He didn't expect that it would be better. This made him very happy. What do we do with these people? Luffy kicked the person beside him and asked. Cripple them and throw them out. Sima Yu said. You dare? The leader shouted. We're Li Mu's men. You dare to touch us? Are you looking to die? They're all Li Mu's dogs indeed. Sima Yu sneered. I said it just now. I hate it when people tell me that they're Li Mu's dogs. I can't touch the people from the Alchemist Guild. But can't I touch you? They usually bully the weak and outsiders in Saint City. They've done a lot of bad things. Cripple them and stop them from doing bad things. Lu Yuan said. I think so too. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Luffy walked over and said. Aren't you Li Mu's dogs? I want to see how good your master will treat you. After speaking, he stepped on their abdomens and crippled them. Third brother, come throw them out. Yes, big brother. The 2 brothers threw all the people out and closed the door with a bang. Those people were all lying on the ground. They couldn't believe that they were crippled. More and more people came to watch. When they saw the people lying on the ground, they were all shocked. How could it be them? Aren't they Li Mu's men? Heavens, they even dare to touch Li Mu's men. The Lu brothers are really overturning the heavens. Hee, if I were them, I would have overturned the heavens. Look at how they've been bullied all these years. That's true. This house is going to be emptied by them. What can they do? The elders in the family have all passed away. Now there are only 4 children left. How can they fight against the Li family? Sigh, these are the matters of the previous generations. Now these children have to bear the consequences. Now that they've crippled Li Mu's men, I'm afraid they'll take revenge on them. Sigh, what a bunch of pitiful children. Let's disperse. If anyone sees us here, we might even be implicated. The crowd left. No one went up to help the people on the ground. It was as if they didn't see anything. They had no choice but to call out their contracted beasts and let them carry them back. When Li Mu received the news that his men had been crippled, he was just coming out of the Li family's courtyard. At that time, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. They even dared to cripple his men. How bold! Who did you say was with them? His aura was terrifyingly low. The servant who came to report was so scared that his legs turned to jelly. He stammered, It's Sima Yue. She even sent someone to tell you to go over and call her boss. Chapter 306. The people behind Li Mu couldn't help but gasp when they heard the manservant's words. Who is this Sima Yue? How dare she speak to Li Mu like that? After hearing Sima Yue's name, Li Mu was silent for a while, then said to the manservant, Find someone to send those people out of Wanshou Mountain. After he finished speaking, he walked towards the Alchemist's Guild. The atmosphere was so tense that no one dared to approach within 3 meters of him. That's the direction of the Alchemist's Guild. Someone from the Li clan said, Isn't he going to look for Sima Yue? Are we just going to let this go? The Li family didn't know what was going on. It really wasn't his style to not get back at them. Only those few people from the Alchemist Guild knew the reason. If he were to look for Sima Yue now, he would have to call her boss, not to mention get back at her. This was because he had lost the bet. Sima Yue and the rest stayed at the Lu residence for a while longer before leaving. She did not expect that Wu Lingyu would actually want to go back with her. Why are you going back with me? Sima Yue glared at Wu Lingyu. Of course it's to escort you back safely, Wu Lingyu said with a smile. Forget it, it's not safe for me to go out with you. Sima Yue refused. Look at what you're saying. You're the junior brother, and I'm the senior brother. How could it not be safe? I'm not going to do anything to you. Or do you want to do something to me? Wu Lingyu looked at her with some fear. Sima Yue was speechless. What was this guy talking about? If I go out with you, I'll definitely be in the eye of the storm. I don't like being watched like a monkey. You should hurry back on your own, Your Highness Holy Son. Sima Yue stretched forth a hand and pushed Wu Lingyu away. When the Lu family members heard the conversation between Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu, they couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. This pair of senior and junior brothers were too weird. In the end, Wu Lingyu did not leave with Sima Yue. He left before Sima Yue's face darkened. Lu Ming, are you really not coming with us to the Sima family? Sima Yue and the others asked the 4 brothers again. No matter what, this is our home. Lu Ming said. And I think Li Mu has the time to make trouble for us. As long as he doesn't come in person, we can handle it. Alright then, be careful. When Sima Yue and the rest returned to the Sima family, the news of them crippling Li Mu's men had already spread to several districts. Not bad. We've just arrived and our Sima family has become famous in Saint City. Sima Yuyang teased. Sima Yue directly walked over and found a place to sit down, saying, We've gone against the Alchemist Guild this time. Do you want to get rid of me? Otherwise, I'll bring trouble to the family. Chi. Sima Yuyang rolled his eyes at her saying, I've already asked Uncle Run. Our relationship with the Alchemist Guild has never been good. There's no need to take this to heart. I initially wanted to run away, but now it seems like I don't have to. Sima Yue said with a smile. Sima Yuyang's eyes twitched. This guy, she was so arrogant just because he said she was fat. The Li family of the Northern Yin Kingdom has always been at odds with our family. When you go out, you have to be careful of their tricks, he warned. Got it. Sima Yue waved her hands, saying, Yu Yang, I only realized today that you're a bit of a busybody. You're always nagging. It's better to be a quiet pretty boy like Yulin. This time, even Sima Yulin, who was at the side, could not remain calm. Was this guy teasing them? If there's nothing else, I'm going to rest. Sima Yue saw the way the two of them were acting and secretly laughed before leaving. On this day, everyone was talking about how Li Mu's underlings had been crippled. Everyone was curious as to why he had given up this time, and did not say anything. Later on, everyone found out about the competition at Dragon Reflection Mountain. and sighed that someone had actually defeated Li Mu. He was only 22 years old, what a strange talent. 2 days later, the Sima family came to Saint City. The moment they arrived, they heard that Sima Yue had defeated Li Mu. Each and every one of the old guys was extremely happy, feeling proud that their family had such a strange talent. It's a good thing that we didn't fall out with him. Otherwise, this strange talent wouldn't be part of the Sima family. This was what many of the Sima family members were thinking. These few days, the first and second-rate powers came to Saint City. Everyone heard about Sima Yue and was curious about this person. These old guys were different from the young ones. They naturally knew that Li Mu was talented in alchemy, now that he had been defeated by someone younger than him. When did the Sima family have such a treasure? Following that, Sima Yue's affairs were pulled out one by one. She came from Dongqin Kingdom, caused a ruckus in the Sima family, helped Ouyang Fei take down South Eclipse Kingdom, and defeated Li Mu at Dragon Reflection Mountain. These few days, when Sima Yue went out, she realized that she was being watched like a monkey. Everyone was pointing at her, and it made her very depressed. As such, she decided not to go out before the competition, and went into seclusion to cultivate. Originally, she thought that she would be able to leave this place peacefully. However, she didn't expect that the things that happened afterwards would make her interested in the creatures at the bottom of 10,000 Beast Mountain. On this day, Sima Yue hadn't come out of seclusion, when she suddenly felt a wave of spiritual energy. She quickly stopped cultivating, and opened the door to go out. "Master, you're back." Sima Yue saw the little bird in Old Man Devil's arms and cried out in surprise. "Chongming? What happened to him? Go back to your house first." Old Man Devil originally wanted to give the Chongming to Sima Yue. However, when he remembered that she was a girl, he carried her in himself. Even if it was a male spirit beast, he couldn't just let his disciple carry it. "Okay." Sima Yue moved aside and let them in. Old Man Devil placed the Chongming on Sima Yue's bed and said, "I met him below. At that time he was already unconscious. I recognized him as your friend, so I saved him." "Master, how is Chongming's injury?" Sima Yue didn't know how to check on a spirit beast in beast form and asked. Old Man Devil was silent for a while and said, "His injury is very serious. And it should be said that he can't be saved. He won't be able to wake up now." Rainbow, who had rushed over after sensing Chongming's aura, heard Old Man Devil's words, and immediately landed on the ground, saying, "No, nothing will happen to my husband." Sima Yue walked over and hugged Rainbow. She stroked the feathers on its back to comfort it and said, "Master, is there no way to save him?" Old Man Devil shook his head and said, "His injury is too serious. All of his internal organs have been destroyed, and his life has been cut off. There's no medicine that can save him." Sima Yue's heart trembled. Was there really no way? Wah! No, I don't want my husband to die. Rainbow struggled out of Sima Yue's arms and flew over to Chongming's side, crying loudly. Sima Yue looked at Chongming, who had already lost his life, and her heart throbbed in pain. This happened too quickly, and she still couldn't accept it. Chapter 307. Sister, what should we do, Wu? Kaihong threw herself onto Chongming and cried. Sima Yue was also feeling terrible. She had seen it transform, and lived with it for 2 years. Now that it was injured like this, she could not believe what she was seeing. She looked at Old Man Devil and asked, "Master, is there really no way to save it?" Seeing her insistence, Old Man Devil said, "It's not that there's no way. It's just that it's too dangerous and might harm the person who saves him." "What is it?" Sima Yue asked. "Contract." Old Man Devil said, "Its body no longer has any life force, so this is the only way. But it was precisely because of this that there were risks. If it succeeds, it will be reborn. If it fails, the person who contracts with it will suffer the backlash of the contract." "This isn't a natal contract. Will it harm my life?" Sima Yue asked. "That won't happen. It's just that my strength might regress, and my spiritual power might be damaged. However, it's impossible to predict the extent of the injuries." Old Man Devil said. "So you have to think carefully." "Sister." Kaihong looked at Sima Yue with pleading eyes. Sima Yue looked at the dying Chongming on the bed and said, "Since there's a way, we have to give it a try. Master, please stand guard for me later." Although he was supposed to protect her, he was actually supposed to save her life if she failed. "Then I'll go find a beast tamer," Old Man Devil said. "There's no need, Master." Sima Yue walked over and placed her hand on Chongming's head. She activated the art of taming beast and started taming it. She had been with Chongming for the past 2 years and had already become friends. She had thought of the possibility that Chongming would form a contract with her. Perhaps when she left the Yilin continent, he would accompany her as a friend. She had also thought of the possibility that they would part ways. However, she had never thought that they would form a contract under such circumstances. Chongming's consciousness was already in a coma. Although he tried to resist, he was very weak. Soon, Sima Yue defeated him. During the taming process, Chongming's aura was still declining, which made her very worried about whether she could save him. "Sister." Rainbow looked at Sima Yue worriedly. He didn't want to lose Chongming, and didn't want Sima Yue to get hurt. Sima Yue took a deep breath and looked at Rainbow. "Don't worry." Then she began the contract. The light of the contract still shone down. Sima Yue tried to establish a connection between the two of them, but without the other party's agreement, the contract could not be completed. "Chongming, open your mouth." Her consciousness called out in Chongming's body. "Chongming, I know you're still here. Answer me. Chongming, you still have things you want to do. I know you still want to go up there. You still have things you can't let go of up there. Do you really want to go up here? Chongming, Kaihong is still young and needs protection. Didn't you promise her father to take care of her? If you leave like this, what will happen to her? Listen, Kaihong is crying so sadly. She's calling for you. Chongming, we've all gotten used to having you around for the past 2 years. I'm still waiting for you to bring me to wipe out those scums. Chongming, come back. We all need you." Sima Yue transmitted her thoughts to Chongming's mind, stimulating his silent consciousness. Ugh! The contract had lasted for too long. The power of the contract had begun to backfire and hurt her body. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. But she was still holding on. Old Man Devil was surprised when he saw that Sima Yue was a beast tamer. But it was quickly replaced by worry. Now that he saw her hands, he wanted to ask her to stop, but his words were stuck in his throat because of the determination on her face. Kaihong was so scared that she forgot to cry when she saw the blood on Sima Yue's mouth. Chongming, do you really not want to continue walking with us? We're all waiting for you. Give us a reply. Chongming, I don't think I can hold on any longer. Chongming, are you willing to form a contract with me? Sima Yue felt that her consciousness was getting blurry. She didn't even know what she was saying. But suddenly, a weak voice seemed to split open the chaos and woke her up. I'm willing. Although it was weak, the laws of heaven and earth could still sense it. The contract formation finally completed and wrapped the two of them together. Success! Success! Kaihong shouted happily. Old Man Devil saw this change, and his heart finally calmed down. Once the contract was formed, it ended very quickly. When the light dissipated, Chongming in his human form appeared in front of everyone again. He was carrying the unconscious Sima Yue in his arms. Sister! Kaihong started to cry again. The light of leveling up enveloped the two of them again. Chongming leveled up and became a level 3 sacred beast. Sima Yue leveled up from level 2 to level 5, a full 3 small levels. Old Man Devil felt sorry for Sima Yue. If Chongming wasn't injured, and she didn't suffer the backlash of the contract, she would have leveled up even more. Kaihong flew to Chongming's shoulder and looked at the pale face of Sima Yue. She asked, Hubby, how did you recover so quickly? Is sister alright? Her situation is a bit serious. Chongming looked at Sima Yue with a pained expression. He knew how dangerous it was for her. He placed Sima Yue on the bed and turned to look at Old Man Devil. Why did hubby's injuries heal but not sister's? Kaihong didn't understand. Old Man Devil walked over to check on Sima Yue's condition. He said, Chongming's injuries were caused by an external force. When the contract was formed, they were all healed. However, Yoyue's injuries were caused by the backlash of the contract. That's why the contract didn't heal her. Then what do we do? The backlash of the contract can only be slowly healed. It depends on her own recovery. For an ordinary person, they should be able to recover in a year and a half. Old Man Devil said. She won't be able to cultivate for a year. Let's feed her some healing pills first. The news of Sima Yoyue's injuries quickly spread throughout the Sima family. Everyone felt sorry for her, and was happy that she had formed a contract with the sacred beast. Knowing that she might not be able to cultivate for a year and a half, everyone felt sorry for her. Now was the best time for her to cultivate. A year's time was enough for her to improve a lot. However, Sima Yoyue's next actions made everyone's jaws drop. Didn't they say that she would be bedridden for a month? How did she get out of bed after 3 days? Didn't they say that she wouldn't be able to use spiritual energy for half a year? How did she start to use spiritual energy in less than half a month? Everyone was shocked by her. Even Old Man Devil felt that it was inconceivable. After asking again, Sima Yue told him that she had a divine demon physique that could heal injuries automatically. After knowing Sima Yoyue's situation, Old Man Devil went silent. He was crying in his heart. Why were all the disciples that he had taken in abnormal bodies? One had an incomplete soul, and the other had a divine demon physique. Her life could be in danger at any time. Was he extremely lucky or extremely unlucky? Chapter 308. I will think of a way to find a solution for you. After knowing about Sima Yoyue's physique, Old Man Devil remained silent for a long time before saying this. Sima Yue felt warm inside when she saw his serious expression. Master, don't worry. Emo Sha said that he had the same physique back then and survived in the end. Sima Yue comforted her. So I think he has a way. He also has the God Devil body. Old Man Devil asked in surprise. Sima Yue nodded and said, Emo Sha said that he was also a human back then, and had the body of a god and devil. Later on, he became a devil. Outsiders know very little about the Supreme Demon King's life. I didn't expect there to be such a big secret. Old Man Devil sighed. But now that you have a contract, he probably won't harm you. The method he told you should be useful. Maybe. Sima Yue said uncertainly. He said that I'm not strong enough and hasn't told me the solution yet. Old Man Devil looked at Sima Yue speechlessly, then said, I'll keep an eye out for you, and let you know if there's anything I can do. If you need anything, just let me know. After the grand meeting, your senior brother and I will return to the surface. You have to hurry up and cultivate, so that you can ascend as soon as possible. I will, Sima Yue said. If you cultivate slowly like this, how long will it take before you can go up? Wu Lingyu suddenly appeared at the door, looking down on her current strength. Sima Yue looked at him and rolled her eyes at him. However, she was sharp enough to sniff out the meaning behind his words. She blinked her eyes at him and asked, Are you saying that there is a way to quickly increase my strength? You're going to get a cramp if you blink again. Wu Lingyu walked over and patted her head. I'm still injured. I'm going to die if you continue to pat me. Sima Yue slapped his hand away and said, Is there a way to increase my strength? Master. Old Man Devil thought for a moment and said, There's no way to improve overnight. If you forcefully increase your strength, it will only cause your foundation to be unstable. Sima Yue naturally understood this as well. Therefore, whenever she leveled up quickly, she would train to strengthen her strength, so that she would not be weak. I'm not talking about those methods, Wu Lingyu said. Other than those methods, what else is there? Old Man Devil didn't understand what he meant. Wu Lingyu glanced at Old Man Devil and said, Why do I feel like you've become dumber after coming here? Old Man Devil slapped him and roared, You've got guts, you dare to look down on me? Wu Lingyu moved and gracefully dodged his evil claws. Old Man Devil suddenly thought of something and said, You're saying to let her go there? That's right. Wu Lingyu nodded. That place is not bad. But as far as I know, the Yilin continent does not have an entrance. Old Man Devil said. How can that be a problem for you? Wu Lingyu glanced at Old Man Devil, as if he was sure that he would have a way. Calculating also requires energy. Old Man Devil said, But if we can open that place, it would be a good way to increase our strength. As far as I know, that place reappeared recently. Old man, you'd better hurry up. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue looked at the two of them talking about something she didn't understand and asked, "What place are you talking about?" "It's a small world," Old Man Devil said. "Small world? What's that?" Sima Yue asked. To put it simply, it's a very large paradise that exists in the space. Wu Lingyu explained. These small worlds come in different sizes and move around in the void. Some appear periodically between continents. A very large blessed enclave? How big is that? Sima Yue looked at the two of them curiously. The big ones can be comparable to half a continent. Old Man Devil said. The small ones can be as big as a house. What's the difference between those places and the paradise? Sima Yue asked. She had passed by the Sima family's land before, and it was a paradise, but it looked incomplete. The paradise is just an incomplete space, while the small worlds are the same as the continents outside. Everything is complete, but it exists in a special space, and has not always existed. Wu Lingyu said. Moreover, many of those small worlds were left behind from ancient times. There are many heavenly treasures inside, and because they only appear once in a while, the things inside have been there for a long time. For example, many of the medicinal herbs are old. Old Man Devil added. I don't lack herbs. Sima Yue was not interested. That's not the main point. The main point is that those small worlds have rich spiritual energy, and there are some treasured lands. If you find one, it's not impossible for you to become a spirit paragon. Old Man Devil said. There are such good places. Sima Yue was interested. Can anyone go to those places? Of course not. Wu Lingyu explained patiently. Every small world has its own rules, just like here. Those who come from the primordial lands and above can only use the strength of a spirit paragon. Those small worlds also have their own rules. What rules? Sima Yue crossed her legs and supported her head with her hands. Some limit one's strength, some limit one's age, and some limit one's strength and age. I know about the age limit, but does it mean that you can only use the strength of a spirit paragon? Sima Yue pondered. Yes, so it's like that. Then what about the small world you were talking about? The ones who came out this time are limited. Wu Lingyu said. Every continent has an entrance, but there's a limit to the number of people who can enter, so not everyone can go. I think the small world will appear soon. Every continent? Are there many continents? Sima Yue asked. Yes, there are many continents like yours in the world, and you're just one of them. Old Man Devil said. Sima Yue was shocked. Such a big continent was just one of them. Then this world was much bigger than Earth. But thinking about it, Earth had 7 continents and 4 oceans, so it made sense that there were many continents here. Why have I never heard Grandpa and the others mention this? She pouted. It seemed like no one knew about the small worlds. I don't know why, but this place is called the prison continent. The whole continent is like a prison, so there are many things you can't come into contact with. Speaking of this, Wu Lingyu and Old Man Devil sighed. It was rare for a continent like this to have a genius like her. The corner of Sima Yue's mouth twitched. It was the prison continent again? This time it was the whole continent that was a prison. Are you kidding me? Chapter 309. Master, isn't this a continent? How did it become a prison? Sima Yue was speechless. I didn't know before, but I do understand now. Old Man Devil said. It's probably because there are ferocious beasts here, so they have to seal this place. Even if they escape, they won't be able to harm the other continents. You mean the one below the 10,000 Beast Mountain? Sima Yue sat up straight and asked Old Man Devil. Master, I haven't asked you before. What did you see in the lake? Do you see that creature? Maybe. Old Man Devil's expression turned serious as he said, Actually, I haven't seen the creature. What? This time, not only was Sima Yue surprised, even Wu Lingyu looked serious. Old man, are the creatures below really that powerful? Old Man Devil nodded and said, I think that creature must have been a very powerful character back then. Even now I can't beat it. Even its aura makes me feel fear. The closer I get, the more I feel that way. So powerful. Sima Yue's jaw dropped. Wu Lingyu was even more surprised than Sima Yue, because he knew how powerful Old Man Devil was. If even Old Man Devil said so, then what was down there? Actually, I feel like I've only walked half the distance. Old Man Devil said. I don't know what's going on in Chongming. I found him at the limit of what I could bear. But he actually made it there. Master, don't scare me. This thing is so powerful. If it comes out one day, we'll be done for. Sima Yue said. Don't worry. It'll be a while before it comes out. You won't be able to touch it for now. Old Man Devil said. Since it's still early, don't think about this right now. You should think about going to the Little Realm, Wu Lingyu said. It was useless for her to know this now, and it would even affect her state of mind during cultivation. Speaking of the Little Realm, Sima Yue felt gloomy again. This was actually a place of imprisonment. The entire continent was like this, and the space was sealed. This caused them to lose a lot of cultivation resources. It was so unfair. Since you said that there is no entrance to this continent, how am I supposed to enter? You idiot, don't you know who I am? Old Man Devil said. Even if there isn't an entrance, I can find one for you. Master is mighty and domineering. Sima Yue flattered with a smile. How could she not know that Old Man Devil and the others had already told her about this matter? Naturally, they would think of a way for her. It was just that she had always been used to it. Every time, she would think of a way by herself, or she would bring Fatty Chu and the others along. Now that someone had thought of her and created the conditions for her to cultivate, she was really touched. Wait here, I'll go back and take a look. As Old Man Devil spoke, he formed a seal with both hands, and a tunnel appeared in front of him. As soon as he entered, the tunnel closed. Master has returned to the primordial lands? Sima Yue said enviously. When you're strong enough, you can also build such a passage. Wu Lingyu said. Now I'll give you some information about those continents and small realms. Alright. After listening to the information that Wu Lingyu gave her, Sima Yue finally understood how terrible their continent was. She felt that the spiritual energy in the four great empires was dense enough. But Wu Lingyu said that this was the continent with the thinnest spiritual energy he had ever seen. She felt that her level was rising fast enough. But Wu Lingyu said that the people from other continents were not much slower than her. True talent depended on one's level after the divine rank. This was because many people with good talent needed a long time to rise a small level after reaching the divine rank. However, some people were very strong, and there were many young experts like Wu Lingyu. Sima Yue was a little discouraged. She used to think that she was very strong, but now she felt that she was still at the bottom. Don't be discouraged, your battle strength is already unparalleled in the same stage. Adding on your contracted beasts, you can do whatever you want in the small realms. Wu Lingyu said. What do you mean by do whatever I want? I'm not a crab. Sima Yue glared. Alright, I've already told you what I wanted to tell you. Do you have any other questions? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Sima Yue asked. Will those people from other continents go to the primordial lands in the end? Yes. Then aren't there many people in the primordial lands? Won't it be crowded? The primordial lands are bigger than you can imagine. You'll know when you get there. Alright. Her answer was the same as not answering. Do you have any other questions? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes. Speak. Why are you so nice to me? Do you want me to not hold a grudge against you? Wu Lingyu was silent for a while. How could he tell her that he wanted her to grow faster, so that she could go to the primordial lands earlier? Because if you don't go up earlier, the old man will be forced to find a successor. Wu Lingyu found a better excuse. Do you have any other questions now? No, you can leave now. Sima Yue waved her hand to send him off and lay down to rest. Wu Lingyu saw Sima Yue ignoring him in the blink of an eye and wanted to punish her. However, he thought that it would scare her, so he left obediently. Of course, in order to avoid arousing suspicion, he climbed over the wall like how he came. Sima Yue laid on the bed, tossing and turning as she thought about the news she received today. She heard too much today and needed to digest it properly. Thinking about what Wu Lingyu said about the other continents, she sat up and said, even if those people are strong, I'm not weak either. Why should I let this affect my mood? Even if I meet them, I'll take care of them if they dare to provoke me. After thinking it through, she laid down again and continued to think about these things. I didn't think that the entire continent was a prison. It's really depressing. I wonder when that little world will open. I want to see the geniuses of the other continents. When can I be like Master and Senior Brother, who can build a tunnel with a wave of his hand and go wherever he wants to go? Sigh, thinking about all these is pointless. I'd better cultivate properly. Chongming, that guy. My injuries haven't healed yet, but he's gone missing all day. Where did he bring my little rainbow to? I really miss her. Creak. The door was pushed open, and Bei Gongtang walked in with food. She smiled. I heard you muttering outside the door. You must be bored because you can't cultivate. Sima Yue smelled the food and sat up on the bed, saying, You guys aren't here to accompany me. I'm bored to death. Bei Gongtang placed the food on the table and said with disdain, As far as I know, your master and senior brother were here not long ago. I'm bored now that they're gone. Sima Yue walked over and picked up her chopsticks to eat. Oh right, what have you guys been busy with recently? Why don't I see you guys all day? Chapter 310. We didn't do much, we just walked around. The event is about to start, so many people came. The city is very lively. Disloyal brat, I'm recuperating here. But you guys are playing outside. Sima Yue complained. Bei Gongtang smiled, knowing that she was just saying it, and wouldn't take it to heart. Oh right, I heard that Ouyang will be here tomorrow. Really? Isn't the event about to start? Sima Yue asked. There's still 3 days, you'll probably miss it. Bei Gongtang said. I won't. Sima Yue said confidently. She was clear about her own body. Although her injuries weren't light, with the Divine Devil Body's automatic recovery, in addition to the pills and spirit fluid, her injuries were recovering at a godly speed. Now she was almost fully recovered, but for the sake of her body, she still wanted to rest for 2 more days. Oh right, do you really know where that guy from Chongming brought Rainbow? I haven't seen that guy since I woke up. I heard that he told your master that he was bringing Rainbow back to the clan. Bei Gongtang said. But I don't know where they went. Back to the clan? Sima Yue almost choked on her food. Where's Rainbow's clan? They've been gone for so long and still haven't returned. The Yiling continent doesn't have a Phoenix clan, so I think they should have gone to the upper realm. Bei Gongtang guessed. When I was in the upper realm, I heard that there was a Phoenix clan. They went to the upper realm. Sima Yue fiercely took a bite of her drumstick. One by one, they all ran to the upper realm, vomiting. On the second evening, someone came to the Sima family. As the Wangya of Southyu, Sima Yue's good friend, Ouyang Fei was directly brought to Sima Yue's courtyard. Sima Yue, who was lying on the bed, looked at Ouyang Fei. She was listless, and Ouyang Fei couldn't help but frown. You're injured so badly? It's not serious, but they wouldn't let me out when I wanted to go out. You're the best, coming to see me as soon as you arrive. Sima Yue got up from the bed and went to the living room with Ouyang Fei. Ouyang Wangya, how does it feel to be Wangya? Sima Yue smiled and made him a cup of tea. Seeing her use flames to boil water, Ouyang Fei said, Didn't you say you can't use spiritual aura? I could have used it a long time ago, but it's better to use it less now. But I can still make a cup of tea. Sima Yue said, You're always so restless. Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue helplessly. I heard about you as soon as I arrived. I even heard that the Li family and the Nalan family are going to attack you. That's expected. Sima Yue was not surprised. The 2 families had been rivals for a long time. I also met someone else. This person will definitely surprise you, Ouyang Fei said. Who? Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan? Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei in surprise and asked, Why is she here? Are you sure it's her? I'm sure. Ouyang Fei nodded his head affirmatively. Because the courtyard in Southyu Kingdom is not far from the Nalan family. I saw her on the way here today and thought she looked like her. So I sent someone to investigate. Guess what happened? What happened? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. This guy had resolved the knot in his heart and was not as cold and arrogant as before. Yet he could still say such things. That person is indeed Nalan Lan. She came from the Dongchen kingdom, so I think it must be that Nalan Lan. Ouyang Fei said. Isn't she in the Dongchen kingdom? How did she come here? Sima Yue did not understand. It said that the Nalan family found her when they went to the Dongchen kingdom. They said that her physique was special and brought her back to the Central Wu kingdom. They even said that they had successfully activated her physique, and her strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Ouyang Fei said. When was she brought here? Sima Yue asked. It said that it was 3 years ago. She came here a year earlier than us. Ouyang Fei replied. That means that when we were still in the Sophia mountain range, she had already come here. Sima Yue said. Why haven't we heard any news about her in these 2 years? Because she was previously hidden and was only released recently. Maybe it's because her physique has been activated and she can be released now. Ouyang Fei guessed. Sima Yue heard Ouyang Fei's analogy and laughed out loud. I heard that she once said that she wanted to defeat you. She originally wanted to fight with you in this competition, but in the end, you didn't even participate. Ouyang Fei said. If you had participated, this competition would have become the best stepping stone for you to become famous in the continent. I'm only the adopted son of the Sima family. It's not proper for me to participate in this competition. Sima Yue said. And I don't have a single cent of interest in becoming famous in the continent. I'm too lazy to be a monkey for others to see. Ouyang Fei smiled. He understood her personality and was not surprised by her answer. Thinking about what Wu Lingyu and the others said, she continued. This world is very big. It's much bigger than what we imagined. We're just a small corner of the world. We belong to the tip of the iceberg. The world is very big, but we're still young. In the future, we'll have the chance to explore the world. Ouyang Fei said. Since you're fine, I'll go back first. Mother and the others are still waiting for me to go back and settle some matters. Ouyang Fei said. If you have any matters, just look for me directly. Okay. He had just arrived today and must have many things to do. Knowing that she was injured and coming to see her immediately, she was already very happy. 2 days later, the festival officially began. The whole city celebrated, but the previous celebration lasted for an entire day. Sima Yue stayed until the celebration started. On the way out, she met the 4 Luming brothers and brought them to watch the performances. Previously, she had always thought that the festival was a competition between the various powers. Now she understood that this was only one part of the festival. To be exact, the festival was held once every 5 years, and the ranking of the powers was only held once every 20 years. And those events were actually just a competition that gathered the various professions from the entire continent. When the celebration ended, the temple lord announced the arrangements. The first competition would be the ranking of the powers, followed by the competition between the various professions. The number of participants from each clan had already been reported. There were no specific people, so the number of matches would be arranged accordingly. Sima Yue was not interested in these, and left the plaza before it ended. When she walked outside, she saw a familiar figure. The 2 of them were stunned. Long time no see. Nalan Lan greeted her first. Although she was smiling, the smile did not reach her eyes. They were ice cold. Sima Yue also smiled and said, I didn't expect to meet you here. Why are you alone? Where's your Morongan? Chapter 311. Nalan Lan never thought that Sima Yue would directly ask such a question, and her expression darkened. However, she immediately smiled and said, He has nothing to do with me anymore. If you want to understand his situation, you can go back to the Dongchen kingdom to take a look. Forget it. I'm afraid that he'll beat me to death when I go back. Sima Yue shrugged. Speaking of which, you should be thanking me. If I didn't happen to discover it and wake you up in time, you would still be in the dark. Yes, I should thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have hardened my heart to leave that place, come here, and encounter such a good thing. Nalan Lan said. After coming here, I realized that those things in the past were nothing at all. My life has just begun. Therefore, I will definitely thank you properly. Sure. Sima Yue put on a fake smile. I heard that you're very powerful now. Originally, I wanted to have a good spar with you. I didn't expect that you wouldn't participate in the competition. What a pity. As she spoke, Nalan Lan made a regretful expression. Sometimes regret is the most beautiful thing. Otherwise, when you find out the truth, you won't even be able to cry. Sima Yue pointed out. It's possible, Nalan Lan said. I still have something to do, so I won't be catching up with you. With that, she walked past Sima Yue and entered the square. Bei Gong Tang followed behind Sima Yue and overheard their conversation. She waited for Nalan Lan to leave before walking over, saying, Don't you feel that Nalan Lan gives off a different feeling than before? Sima Yue glanced at Bei Gong Tang and asked, You realized it too? Doesn't it look very holy? That's right. It seems to be similar to the people from the Sage Pavilion. Oh, it's about the same as your senior brother in front of others, Bei Gong Tang said. The two of them talked about their feelings as they walked. Don't talk about my senior brother. He's just pretending to be holy, Sima Yue said. But Nalan Lan is indeed a little like him when he's pretending. It's a pity that her kung fu is not good enough. Although she exudes such an aura, she doesn't hide her eyes well. Most people don't have eyes as sharp as yours, Bei Gong Tang said. It's possible. Look at those people. Don't they think she's unattainable? Sima Yue turned around to take a look. Nalan Lan was surrounded by a group of people. She smiled at them, and the aura she emitted made people want to worship her. Bei Gong Tang naturally saw it as well and said, Could it be that the change in her aura has something to do with her physique? Very likely. Sima Yue said, Lotus physique. Maybe it's a physique similar to a lotus, but who knows? Let's go. Those guys are still watching the show. Let's go back first. All right. Bei Gong, have you heard of other continents? Sima Yue thought for a while and asked. Other continents? Are you talking about the Fengyan continent and the Flawless continent? Bei Gong Tang asked. You know about it, Sima Yue said. Thinking about it, Bei Gong Tang was someone from the top after all. It was normal for her to know. I only know of these two, Bei Gong Tang said. But I heard that there are many continents. Then why did you choose the Yiling continent? Sima Yue was a little suspicious. It would be better to go to other continents than here. Bei Gong Tang smiled bitterly and shook her head, saying, At that time, we were surrounded and attacked. Eunuch Nyang tried her best to open up a path. How could she have thought of where it would lead to? But luckily we came here. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be here now. Because the space here is the biggest. If you want to come to this continent, you have to pay a higher price. Those people weren't strong enough, so they didn't dare to fight like Eunuch Nyang. That's why we managed to escape. Bei Gong Tang said. Eunuch Nyang's injury was caused at that time? Sima Yue asked. Yes, Bei Gong Tang said. Why did you think of asking about those continents? I heard Master say it last time. Only then did I know that we're not the only low-level continent. I was a little surprised, Sima Yue said. She thought about it, but decided not to tell them about the little realm. She would only tell them after she confirmed it. Otherwise, they would be happy for nothing. Although Bei Gong Tang was from the upper realm, she wasn't very old when she left. In addition, she didn't have much contact with the outside world. Naturally, she didn't know about the little realm. So when she heard Sima Yue say this, she thought that she was curious because she just found out about these places. The two of them walked on the streets. Looking at the excited people everywhere, they shook their heads. This event has nothing to do with them. Why are they so excited? Bei Gong Tang didn't understand. Some people just like to watch this kind of excitement. Although it has nothing to do with them, they just like to join in. Sima Yue said. No matter if it was the past world or the present world, there was no lack of people who liked to watch the excitement. Every time, she would just watch coldly from the sidelines. She wouldn't join in on good or bad things. Suddenly she felt something. She raised her head and looked to the left. A figure was standing on the rooftop. Seeing her, he came down. I'm back. Chongming didn't know why, but when he saw Sima Yue, he subconsciously said this sentence. Since when did he treat her as his home? Sima Yue punched him on the shoulder. She curled her lips and said angrily, Where did you run off to? You took so long to come back. Where's Rainbow? Chongming saw Sima Yoyue's angry little face. In his mind, he thought of her pale face in his arms. After forming a contract, he found out that she was a girl. Seeing her get hurt because of him, he felt an indescribable sense of closeness. He smiled and said, I sent her back to the clan. Is it in the upper realm? Sima Yue retracted her hand. Yes. Chongming said. Why did you send her back? Isn't it good here? That's your wife. Sima Yue said. It's good for her to go back. Chongming explained. Her bloodline is recovering now. When she goes back to the clan, she can accept more things and develop her bloodline to the strongest. Hasn't Rainbow been fine all this time? Why did her bloodline suddenly recover? Chongming was stunned and said, You wouldn't know about the things between us spirit beasts. Oh. Sima Yue thought about it and didn't ask any more questions. She continued to walk forward. Although Chongming walked with them, his heart flew to the day Sima Yue got hurt. That day, Qian came out and saw Sima Yue injured. He knew why she got hurt. Although he emitted cold air, he didn't say anything. After confirming Sima Yue's condition, he saw Rainbow on the bed. He flew over and said, She's a good seedling. After saying that, the egg emitted a crimson halo that enveloped Rainbow. Chongming realized that 2 drops of blood condensed from the eggshell and fell on Rainbow's body. In an instant, Rainbow's body emitted a dazzling light. Chapter 312. That light flashed into Rainbow's body, and Qian retracted his light. You better bring it back to the clan. It'll be better for her there. After speaking, Qian returned to the contract space. Chongming looked at Rainbow. She had already fallen into a deep sleep, and a faint red light enveloped her. Old Man Devil never thought that Sima Yue would have such a powerful contract beast. Seeing that it could activate Rainbow's bloodline power so easily, he was quite surprised. Master! Chongming followed Sima Yue and shouted. I'm going up. I'll have to trouble you to take care of Yue. Go. Even if this brat wakes up, he'll want you to send this brat back. It's just that the Phoenix clan is not easy to find. Can you find it? I know where it is. Chongming said. I went there when I was young. That clan's people are not easy to get along with. You have to be careful here. Old Man Devil said. If it was before, he would not care about Chongming's life or death. But now that he was his disciple's contract beast, his life or death was related to his disciple's body. So he naturally had to remind him. I understand. Chongming said as he opened up a space tunnel, then carried Rainbow and left. Actually, a sacred beast like him could not open up a tunnel. But because he was a space-type spirit beast, he was naturally sensitive to space and had a unique advantage. Halcyon followed Sima Yue and the others as they walked. He thought about how he had left and the dangers and difficulties he had encountered on the way to the Phoenix clan. He realized that after seeing Sima Yue, everything became blurry. It was as if those injuries no longer existed. What's wrong with you? Sima Yue felt the change in Chongming's aura and stopped to ask. Nothing. I'm just worried about how Rainbow is. Chongming found an excuse. Hee, you're worried about your wife, right? Sima Yue smiled at Chongming. How is it, do you miss her? You've only been apart for a short while, and you're already missing her. Bei Gongtang and Chongming looked at her speechlessly. Oh right, didn't you find Rainbow in this continent? How did it come here? Sima Yue asked. Because of the Phoenix clan's internal strife, at that time, Rainbow's father's clan was the weaker one. In order to ensure Rainbow's safety, he entrusted it to me. Chongming replied. Then what's the situation up there? Will Rainbow be in danger up there? Sima Yue asked worriedly. That won't happen. The final victor is still my friend's branch. The one in power is Rainbow's direct ancestor. If she goes back now, she will definitely be valued. Halcyon said. Yue. Chongming Yue back at the Sima residence. Bei Gongtang returned to her own room. Sima Yue and Chongming returned to their own rooms, closed the door, and brought him to the spirit pagoda. A world of its own. Chongming saw the sudden change in the environment and said in surprise, Master, Guang and the others ran over, rubbing against her body. Where's little two? Sima Yue patted their heads and asked. He's cultivating. Master, do you want to find him? Guang replied. No need. Since he's cultivating, we won't disturb him. Sima Yue said. Chongming and I have some things to talk about. You guys go play by yourselves. That's right. Now her contracted beasts were all playing around. Before they contracted with her, they were all cultivating day and night. Now that they followed her, every time she leveled up, they would level up as well. Thus everyone no longer cultivated and changed to playing around. Where is this? Chongming asked. My space in the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue said. Little Roar and the others usually cultivate here. You can also stay here in the future. The environment here is not bad. Chongming said. I'll bring you around. Sima Yue led him to the medicine shop, the library and the warehouse. After walking around, the two of them sat down at the top of the mountain. Below them was a boundless medicinal field. Chongming, what did you encounter that day at the bottom of 10,000 Beast Mountain? How did you get injured so badly? Sima Yue asked. I don't know either. Chongming said. I just felt a familiar aura, so I went to take a look. I didn't expect that there would be so many obstacles below. I passed a few, but it took me a lot of time. Sometimes, I can't even advance a few meters in a day. Then why did you continue to advance? Don't you know it's dangerous? Sima Yue asked. Chongming glanced at her and said. Because the closer I got to the center, the stronger the aura, and the more familiar it was. What kind of aura made you so persistent that you risked your life to find out what it was? Sima Yue disagreed. Chongming smiled bitterly and said. Although I was curious, I wasn't so desperate that I didn't care about my life. However, towards the end, the situation was no longer up to me. If I retreated, I would die. Sima Yue was shocked. What kind of dangerous situation was that? What was that aura? Why did you feel that it was familiar? Could it be your clansman? She asked. No. Chongming looked at Sima Yue and sighed, saying, It wasn't my clansman's aura. The reason why I felt that it was familiar was because I felt that it was a little similar to you. What did you say? Sima Yue's heart was in turmoil. It was a little similar to her aura. Although it was very short at times, I could feel that there was a different aura coming from your body at times. It was different from your usual self. At first, I thought that the creatures below were related to you, so I wanted to go down and take a look. Chongming said. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything. Sima Yue's mouth was wide open. She didn't expect that Chongming would be in danger because of her. Thank you, Chongming. I didn't find out what it was. You don't have to thank me, Chongming said. Moreover, you were the one who saved my life. Sima Yue was silent for a while and said, Chongming, at that time, you were about to die. We had no other choice, so we thought of using the contract to heal you. If you don't want to, wait until I'm stronger and can take the initiative to cancel the contract. Then, I'll let you regain your freedom. Let's do it this way. I believe that even with the contract, you won't object to whatever I want to do. I believe that you won't use the contract to bind me, Chongming said. What? Sima Yue blinked. Did he mean that he was willing to be her contract beast? Chongming was a little embarrassed by her stare. However, he was conflicted about whether to be her contract beast or not. Since things had come to this, he decided to let nature take its course. Sima Yue understood what he meant. She smiled with her eyes squinted. You said that the creature's aura was a little similar to mine. I'm really curious about what's down there. She touched her chin and said. Chapter 313. As soon as Sima Yue finished speaking, she saw Chongming looking at her disapprovingly. All right, I won't go. She waved her hand. Even someone as powerful as you almost died in there. How could I joke around with my own life? I cherish my life very much. Then why did you risk your life to save me? Chongming said. That's because you were my bodyguard at that time. If you were dead, where would I find someone as powerful as you? Sima Yue said. You have become a sacred beast in this continent, so the rules here will not restrict you. Even my master and the others can only display the strength of a spirit paragon. You are stronger than them. Chongming laughed and shook his head. How could he not understand her thoughts? She didn't say it, but he understood it in his heart. But when I'm strong enough, I might come back to take a look and see what that creature is, and why its aura is so similar to mine. Sima Yue stood up and said, All right, let's go out. This place is pretty good. I want to cultivate here. Chongming said, All right, I'll head out now. Sima Yue left the spirit pagoda in a flash. On the second day, she followed the members of the Sima family to the duel arena. There was a sturdy arena there, and there was a defensive array on the grandstand. It was a good place to compete. The competitors today are all first-rate powers. We will encounter the Nalan family, the Hua family, the Li family, the Sang family, and so on. There are 3 arenas where the old, middle, and young people can compete at the same time. Sima Yuyang was beside Sima Yuyu, telling her about today's competition. The family that comes in last place will have to accept challenges from other families. If they lose, they will lose their position as a first-rate power, and will also lose their rights. Isn't the Li family an alchemy family? Will they participate in the ranking? Sima Yue asked. They asked for outside help. Sima Yuqing said. They used their own methods to invite outside help from their peers. If they win, it'll be considered their victory. It's like this. Sima Yue nodded. Alchemy families do have this kind of ability. I think the people they found are not weak. We have to be careful this time. The Li family hates you to death. Originally, they wanted to suppress you in the arena. But in the end, you didn't go up at all. They will probably vent their anger on us. Sima Yuyang said fearfully, but his expression was one of excitement, as if he was waiting for those people to cause them trouble. Seeing him like this, everyone shook their heads speechlessly. They entered the venue and went to the Sima clan's seat. When they passed by the Li clan, Sima Yuyu felt a few resentful gazes. She stopped in her tracks and raised her head. She saw Li Mu sitting near the front of the Li clan, looking at her with a few other young men. All of them had killing intent in their eyes. Last time at Dragon Reflection Mountain, he had sprinkled the orchid fragrance to kill them. Now he actually dared to reveal his killing intent? She smiled, saying, Li Mu, why aren't you greeting me and calling me boss when you see me? Her voice was not soft. She even raised it on purpose to attract the attention of the people nearby. So that's Sima Yue? Is she the one who won against Li Mu? She looks so young. She looks even younger than Li Mu. You're really ignorant. Sima Yue is only 21. She's not even 22. This Li Mu is 26. What, she's younger than Li Mu by 4 years? Yes, the scariest thing is that her rank is higher than Li Mu's. Don't you think that's scary? The Sima family is really powerful. They actually found such a treasure. Not only is she good at alchemy, her cultivation is also very high. Her battle strength is also very strong. It's said that Wu Feng was beaten up by her until his parents couldn't recognize him. Even if her talent is good, this Li Mu is a member of the Alchemist's Guild. She actually dares to make him greet her in front of so many people. That's too daring. What's wrong with that? This was the bet between the two of them. If Li Mu lost, he would have to call her boss. She's making him carry out the bet. Even if the Alchemist Guild has objections, they can't do anything. Who told you to lose? When Sima Yue heard these people's words, she did not say anything. Instead, she looked at Li Mu and said, What's wrong? You were the one who made the bet that day. Are you going back on your words now? Li Mu's hands in his sleeves were tightly clenched into fists. It wasn't that he did not hear those people's words. Although it was very embarrassing, there was no other way. He had already lost the competition. He could not leave any evidence for them to go back on their words. He stood up, cupped his hands and bowed to Sima Yue, saying, Boss. Sima Yue placed her hands behind her back and said with a smile, You may rise. Li Mu stood up and sat down, no longer looking. Sima Yue, a young man beside him, said, I hope that our 2 clans will meet in the competition between the clans today and compete again. Sure, Yu Yang and the others also want to see how powerful the external helpers you've invited are. Sima Yue continued to walk forward after speaking, ignoring the gazes of those who wanted to eat her alive. When she passed by the Sang clan, she felt a strong aura. She raised her head and saw a young man dressed in a black robe resting with his eyes closed. This person is very strong. He can fight with you, Lin. Sima Yue said. That's the number one of the younger generation of the Sang clan, Sang Qiongli. Sima Yuyang followed her gaze and recognized that person. Sima Yue realized that she had never seen these people before and asked softly, Sang clan. Is this Sang clan the clan of Mother Ouyang? No, this Sang clan is the Sang clan of the Northern Yin Kingdom. They have nothing to do with the Sang clan of the Southern Eclipse Kingdom. Sima Yuyang said. Oh. Sima Yue glanced at Sang Qiongli again, before continuing to walk towards the Sima clan. Once they left, Sang Qiongli opened his eyes and looked at Sima Yue's back deep in thought. Qiongli, what's wrong? A man beside him asked. That person is very strong. He will be a strong opponent. Sang Qiongli said. Sima Yuyang? He can't compare to you. That man said when he saw Sima Yue and Sima Yue. Not him, the one beside him. Sang Qiongli looked at Sima Yue. Sima Yue? I heard that he's an alchemist. His cultivation shouldn't be that high. That man said. No, although he's restrained his aura, I can still feel it. He's a bit stronger than me. Sang Qiongli said. The man beside him widened his eyes, saying, No way, he's that powerful? I'm very sure. Sang Qiongli said. But we'll only know his battle prowess after we fight him. It's a pity that he won't be going up this time. Otherwise, we'll be able to see if he's as powerful as you say. There will be a chance. Sang Qiongli closed his eyes once he finished speaking. Chapter 314. Not long after Sima Yue and the others arrived at the arena, people from the Sage Pavilion, Alchemist Guild, Weapon Master Guild, Beast Tamer Guild, and Array Master Guild entered the arena together. One from the Sage Pavilion, and two from the other guilds. A total of 9 people went to the judges' seats. After that, the Sage Pavilion's Pavilion Master and Holy Maiden accompanied Wu Lingyu. Behind them were the various guild masters and vice-guild masters of the various guilds. The group of them went to the viewing area in front of them. An MC walked up and said, Hello everyone, I am today's MC. Today is the first day of the grand gathering, and it is also the time when the various powers are ranked once every 20 years. We are very happy to invite His Highness Holy Son of the Sage Pavilion, from the Upper Realm, to watch this competition. At the same time, we also invite. Sima Yue watched as the host blabbered on for a long time. She was truly impressed by his ability to talk nonsense. After a long while the host said, Let's begin today's competition. There are 3 arenas, so you can fight in 3 groups at the same time. The specific rules have already been explained to everyone in advance. 5 clans. The older generation will send out 4 people, the middle-aged generation will send out 8 people, and the younger generation will send out 16 people. The ranking would be based on the number of wins, and the last place would be challenged by a second-rate force. Alright, this time, we'll start with the older generation's competition. Now, let's invite each family to send out 2 people. 5 clans, 20 people, 20 high-level spiritual venerables. The 20 number plates were of the same color as the family, so he couldn't choose a member of his own family. Sima Yue sat on the viewing platform and realized that other than 1 8th grade spirit paragon and 2 7th grade spirit paragons from the Sima family, the other one was actually Sima Lin. Even though his strength had increased rather quickly in the past few years and had risen a few levels with Sima Yue's help, he was still only a 4th grade spirit paragon. As for those from other clans, they were either 8th grade or 9th grade. There was a huge difference between them and him. Is it okay for Grandpa Lin to go up? Sima Yue asked worriedly. Don't worry. My grandfather said that although Grandpa Lin's level isn't high, his combat strength isn't weak at all. Just wait and see. Sima Yuyang sat on her left and said when he heard her worry. Sima Yue knew that they were referring to him as an array master, but she had never seen an array master duel before, so she did not know how powerful he was. However, thinking about it, that old fox would not let the Sima family suffer a loss. Since he had sent Sima Lin up, he should have already planned it out. Otherwise, with so many high-level spirit paragons here, he wouldn't have needed to let Sima Lin go up. When the other families saw Sima Lin's rank, they all mocked the Sima family for not having anyone in the older generation, which was why they had sent a 4th-level spirit paragon up. Sima Lin did not have the slightest reaction to this. However, in the later stages of the competition, those people who had laughed at him or fiercely slapped themselves in the face. Sima Lin's fight was in the first round, and those people said that he would not be able to take a single blow from his opponent. However, he used his spirit chi and spatial manipulation to defeat an 8th-level spirit paragon invited by the Li clan within 10 moves. When the referee announced the victory, the entire arena was in an uproar. Even when he returned to the Sima family, no one could react. He won just like that. His opponent was 4 whole levels higher than him. Sima Yue was also very surprised. This array master's battle prowess was just too valiant. Oh, when I go back, I'll have to practice how to use spatial manipulation in battle. She rubbed her chin and said, "No wonder Master said that array masters are very powerful." Looks like he didn't just say that he could use arrays during the competition. He also included spatial manipulation. The older generation's battles did not end so quickly. There was basically no one who ended as quickly as Sima Lin. 10 rounds of competition, 3 rounds at a time, and it still took an entire day's time to finish. Sima Yu carefully observed the battle between the experts. It was a good thing that the protective array was strong enough and protected the people on the viewing platform well. Otherwise, everyone would be busy running for their lives and wouldn't have time to observe the battle. Sima Yue gained quite a bit of inspiration from every battle. Combining it with her own battle experience, she learned quite a few useful things. After the first day of the competition ended, everyone went back to rest. When Sima Yue and the younger generation of the Sima family went out, they met Li Mu and another man at the exit. Jade was also with them. Sima Yue saw that they were also walking over and slowed down. Coincidentally, they bumped into each other. "Yue." Jade greeted them first. "Miss Jade." Sima Yue nodded, then looked at Li Mu. Li Mu knew that she did it on purpose. He clearly saw that they were about to leave, but purposely slowed down to meet them. When the surrounding people saw them meet, they all stopped to watch the show. Li Mu pulled a long face, but he still bowed to Sima Yue and said, "Boss, get up." Sima Yue said lightly, as if she was rewarding him. "Yue, Yuyang, this is my senior brother, Hanemo senior brother. This is the Sima family's Yue, Yuyang Yulin." Jade introduced the Sima family members to Hanemo. Hanemo had a delicate appearance. Although he was smiling, he gave people the feeling that he was a smiling tiger, because there was a hint of coldness in his smile. Hanemo nodded at them, then looked at Sima Yue and said, "I heard about your competition with Li Mu. I heard that you are very strong. I'm a little stronger than him. Otherwise, how could I win against him?" Sima Yue said, "If you're willing, why don't you come to the alchemy gathering later?" Hanemo said, and took out a golden invitation. Sima Yue took the invitation without batting an eyelid, then smiled and said, "If I'm in the mood, I might go. I hope we can meet at the gathering. The guild still has things to do, so we'll head back first." Hanemo nodded at her as he spoke, and left with the members of the Alchemists Guild. "Fifth bro, will you be going to the alchemy gathering?" Sima Yue asked. "Not interested." Sima Yue kept the invitation in her interspatial ring without even looking at it. "I heard that the competition this time has generous prizes," Sima Yuyang said. "Are there prizes for other occupations? Beast Tamer Master? Armament Master?" Sima Yue asked. "All of them," Sima Yuyang said. "I'll ask Fatty and the others later if they want to participate. In any case, I'm not interested," Sima Yue said. "I see that Hanemo is rather interested in you, and I heard that he has a strong personality. If he wants you to go, he will definitely think of a way to get you to participate," Sima Yue said. "Is that so? Then we'll have to see if he has the ability," Sima Yue said. Let's go back." The next 2 days were for middle-aged people to compete. Sima Yue did not go to watch the competition, but stayed in the courtyard to cultivate. She only went to the arena when it was time for the younger generation to compete. After 2 rounds of competition, The Sima family's situation was not good. It should be said that it was very bad. They were the last of the 5 families. If they did not win 10 rounds in the younger generation's competition, they would be at the bottom. Chapter 315. The Naylan family and the Li family were very happy with the Sima family's result. What they wanted the most was for the Sima family to lose directly and then be defeated in the challenge. It would be best if they became a second-rate force. The Sang family and the Sima family didn't have any grudges, so they didn't think much of them. Only the Hua family was vaguely worried for them. However, the members of the Sima family were not worried, because they knew that their younger generation was definitely stronger than the other families. Sima family, just wait to be defeated. Seeing Sima Yue and the others, the members of the Li family raised their middle fingers and shouted. Then, they left while laughing loudly. A young man from the Sima family wanted to teach that person a lesson, but was stopped by Sima Yue. Yue, don't grab me. I'll go beat him up. The kid shouted as he struggled. Don't be impulsive. This is the battle arena of the grand meeting. If you cause trouble, you will be chased out by the Guild Alliance and lose the right to compete. Sima Yuyang said from the side. The Li family is too hateful, that brat said unhappily. I know that man. He's Li's son from the Li family, Li Mu's brother. He will also participate in today's competition. Sima Yuran said. That's great. Sima Yuyang said. Everyone do your best. Today we met the Naylan and Li clansmen. One wisp. Beat them up until their parents can't recognize them, got it? Got it. The Sima family answered in unison. They returned to their seats and sat down. The older generation had naturally seen what had just happened, and were very satisfied that they had not been impulsive enough to cause trouble. Soon the competition began. All the contestants went up to draw lots. Similarly, they were not allowed to draw their own family members. Then, according to their number, they went up to the stage to compete. This time's competition wouldn't determine the strength of each clan's genius, unless they met each other directly. After the competition, there would be a ranking competition for the younger generation. Although this ranking competition wouldn't affect the ranking of the major clans, it would have an invisible impact on the status of each clan. After all, the younger generation was the hope of a clan. Therefore, there were many people who did not come to the competition yesterday, but today, the arena was packed with people. Even the old fellows from the various guilds had come. Each clan had 16 people, so the 5 clans had a total of 80 people. The competition was divided into 40 rounds, and it was still carried out in 3 arenas. There was no one from the Sima family in the first 10 rounds. At this moment, no one paid any attention to them, because they were already in last place in everyone's mind. The geniuses of the Hua clan are really amazing. Isn't that so? I heard that Hua Ziyan is even more powerful. Naylan Jia of the Naylan family is also very powerful. That day when I brushed past him, I felt a terrifying aura. I think Sang Cheong Li from the Sang family is the strongest. He will achieve impressive results in the competition. The Sima family's Sima Yulin isn't bad either. Not bad, not bad. It's a pity that the Sima clan has already declined. He alone cannot change anything. That's right. The Sima family's current strength can't be compared to the other 4 families. It's a pity that such a family with a long history has passed down. Who knows, they might not even be as good as us, a second-rate power. I heard that the Sima family has an alchemy genius who is already a 4th-ranked alchemist at the age of 22. If everyone in the Sima family is as abnormal as him, would the Sima family still be like this? The people in the stands were watching the competition as they discussed the contestants. At the same time, they were also looking at their strength to prepare for the later rounds of the competition. The people around Sima Yu went down to prepare for the competition. The empty surroundings made her stand out in the crowded stands. When Fatty Chu and the others came, there were no more seats. When they saw Sima Yu, they squeezed over and sat down. It's still more comfortable here. It's so crowded over there. Fatty Chu complained as he wiped his sweat. I asked them to come with us long ago, but you two insisted on going to the free stands. You deserve to be squeezed. Sima Yu took out a spirit fruit and started munching on it. Who knew that there would be so many people today? Look over there, it's so crowded. It wasn't like this 2 days ago. Fatty Chu said. Give me one of the fruits. Sima Yu took one out and gave it to him. She also gave one to Bei Gong Tang, saying, looks like everyone likes to watch the younger generation compete. Furthermore, it's the last generation of the 3 generations. Naturally, there will be more people watching. There will be more people watching the later rounds of the competition between the younger generation. Bei Gong Tang said. When I came over just now, I heard that someone wanted to bet on the start of the competition. Fatty Chu squinted his eyes, saying, when the time comes, we'll all guess who's in first place. We'll definitely earn a lot. All right, I'll leave this to you. You have to win some money for our team. Sima Yu said as she patted Fatty Chu's shoulder. No problem. In a while, I'll go look for Ouyang to get some money. Fatty Chu agreed. Why look for Ouyang? Bei Gong Tang and Sima Yu didn't understand. You guys think that Ouyang is so carefree in the South Yu royal family. If you don't look for him, who else can you look for? Fatty Chu said. Ouyang Fei seemed to feel that they were talking about him, and looked over at the 3 of them. There's actually Nailin Lan in the Nailin clan. Chapter 316. Although Sima Yu Lan looked small and skinny, because she had the blood of a spirit beast in her body, her explosive power was shocking. When the Li family member saw that his opponent was a girl from the Sima family, he smiled and said, if you call me good brother and beg me to spare you, I will let you go today. Otherwise, I won't hold back just because you are a girl. Sima Yu Lan snorted coldly. Kneel down now and call me great aunt twice. Beg me to let you off. Otherwise, don't blame me for beating you into a pig head, so that your parents won't be able to recognize you. Ha ha ha. When the people on the viewing platform heard their words, they immediately burst out laughing. The Li family's face immediately darkened and said, even if you want me to spare you now, it's impossible. Unless you're willing to be my servant right now and pour me tea and water. If a member of the Sima family became a servant girl of the Li family, it would be a great humiliation to their family. Noisy. Sima Yu Lan stretched out her hand and dug her ears. Then she condensed her spirit chi and attacked. Soul Emperor. The people in the stands were all stunned when they saw her cultivation. How is this possible? That Li clansman was sent flying as he looked at Sima Yu Lan in disbelief. Sima Yu Lan released the pressure of a spirit saint, causing the other party to be unable to move. Then, she quickly ran over and threw a punch at him. At the same time, she pulled his chin down so that he couldn't even open his mouth to beg for mercy. Bang! She swung her fists and punched him. Because of the spirit beast bloodline, her body had the powerful strength of a spirit beast. Every punch was like a small mountain pressing down on him. That person couldn't speak, and could only howl in pain. Sima Yu squinted her eyes and smiled brightly. Yulan, this little girl, has always been quiet. Now she has completely overturned her previous image. She saw the Li family members begging for mercy in their eyes, but because they couldn't admit defeat, the referee in the arena didn't stop the fight. I couldn't tell. She's actually quite two-faced. Let's dislocate his chin first, so that he can't beg for mercy. Fatty Chu chuckled as he spoke. Not bad. Bei Gong Tang nodded in approval. On the stage, Sima Yu Lan was either kicking or hitting him. Furthermore, she specifically targeted his face. Now, his entire face had been beaten until it was deformed. His nose was broken, and his lips were swollen like sausages. His eyes and face were all bruised. Enough! Stop fighting! The other members of the Li clan shouted from below the stage. Sima Yu Lan stopped and looked down the stage saying, but he hasn't admitted defeat yet. After saying that, she kicked him again, sending him to the side of the ring. His face was facing outside, and he happened to be facing the Li family below the ring. Referee, he didn't admit defeat. Does it count as my win? She asked the referee. No. The referee said, either you admit defeat, faint, or get knocked out of the ring. Only then will it be considered your win. Oh. Sima Yu Lan nodded her head in understanding. Under the gaze of the Li family members, she slowly walked over. She lifted her leg and ruthlessly stomped on the opponent's chest. Seeing that he spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted, she followed up with a kick, kicking him off the stage. Ring number 3, the Sima family wins. The referee announced. Sima Yulan looked at the unconscious opponent and said with a smile, I told you to call me great aunt. Otherwise, I would beat you until your parents couldn't recognize you. You regret it now, don't you? The Li family members quickly went up to help him up. They all glared fiercely at Sima Yulan on stage. The elder of the Li family berated. So vicious at such a young age. The Sima family has really taught you well. There were also people in the audience who were criticizing Sima Yulan. However, most of them were biased towards the Nalan and Li family members. Sima Yulan looked at the elder of the Li family who had spoken, saying, Didn't you say that the Li family is an alchemist family? Then you should be able to tell that he doesn't have any internal injuries. He just needs to eat a normal healing pill to recover. Compared to your family who beat the Hua family members half to death, I'm much more merciful. Or is it that your family doesn't live up to its name and can't even see this little injury? After speaking, she jumped off the stage and walked towards the resting area without looking back. Her words were like 2 tight slaps to the Li family members' faces. Just now, when someone had berated them for being heavy-handed, they had said that injuries were unavoidable in the competition. Now that they were criticizing Sima Yulan, it was obvious that they had been slapped in the face. Furthermore, just as she had said, her opponent had only suffered some external injuries and could recover after eating a pill. However, the other party had said that she was vicious and merciless, which meant that they couldn't see the Li family's injuries at all. This was not in line with their reputation, and slapped them in the face once again. The voices in the audience also died down. Even the Li family members didn't say anything. What else could they say? Sima Yu saw Sima Yulan walk over and gave her a spirit fruit, saying with a smile, As the saying goes, when you hit someone, don't hit their face. This time, not only did you hit your opponent's face, you even gave the Li family 2 tight slaps. Beautiful. You couldn't tell. Sima Yulan sat in her seat and took a bite of the spirit fruit, saying, Didn't you guys say that when you meet the Li family members, you must beat them until their parents can't recognize them? If you don't hit their faces, how can you make it so that their parents can't recognize you? Then how did you think of going up to dislocate his chin? Fatty Chu asked. They taught me before I went up. Sima Yulan replied honestly. Who taught you? Sima Yu asked. It must have been that guy Yu Yang. Fatty Chu guessed. No. Sima Yulan shook her head, saying, It was Yulin. Sima Yu and the other 2 were shocked by this reply. The one who taught her this move was actually that guy Sima Yulin? Seeing the shock on their faces, Sima Yulan shrugged, saying, It was Yulin. Before I went up, he happened to be beside me and knew that I was going up. He said that if the opponent opened his mouth to admit defeat, I couldn't continue to beat him. When I went up on stage, I understood what he meant. Wasn't this to make the opponent unable to speak? So I dislocated his chin first. Sima Yu and the other 2 were speechless. So the most two-faced one was that guy. Yu, your brother is going up. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yu looked at the stage. This time, it was third brother Sima Yuran who was going up. Coincidentally, the opponent was someone from the Li family. Although they were external help, they were now considered to be part of the Li family. Sima Yu cupped her hands together and shouted towards the stage. Third brother, you can do it. Sima Yu smiled at her. Third brother, you understand. Sima Yu said as she waved her hands. Sima Yuran nodded. He knew what she was talking about. In order to make his brother happy, he had to beat the opponent until their parents couldn't recognize him. That was easy. When the Li family members saw Sima Yuran, their worried hearts calmed down, saying, I know you. You came from the place of exile. If you don't want to be beaten until your parents can't recognize you, then get over here and call me ancestor. Chapter 317. The news of Sima Yue causing a ruckus in the Sima family had spread across the entire continent. Therefore, everyone knew that Sima Yue and the others were from the land of exile, and were not strong. So when the Li clansmen saw that it was Sima Yu Ran, they subconsciously thought that he was a weakling. Kneel down and call him ancestor? Sima Yu Ran narrowed his eyes. It looked like he didn't need Sima Yu Yu's request. He would beat him into a pig's head. The Li clansman was stared at by Sima Yu Ran like this, and suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Before he could even react, Sima Yu Ran had already rushed in front of him and delivered a left hook to his face, directly knocking out one of his teeth and causing him to fall heavily onto the ground. For the past 2 years, they had been trained by Sima Yu Yue, and she had even taught them close combat techniques. What a strong battle strength! The people on the viewing platform saw that Sima Yu Ran had defeated the other party with a single punch, and were momentarily unable to react. Spirit masters were most afraid of close combat, because their physiques were relatively weak. Some of them were even weaker than ordinary people. Sima Yu Ran took advantage of the fact that his opponent had yet to get up, and walked over to hit him in the stomach with his elbow. After that, he dislocated his chin and began to beat him up. Hiss! When the people in the stands saw that the Li family was beaten into a pig's head again, they couldn't help but close their eyes. It was really too cruel. As for the Li clansmen, they had lost the initiative right from the start. Right now they couldn't even release their spirit energy. They had been beaten so badly that they had even forgotten to call out their own contracted beasts. Before they could recover from the beating, they had already been kicked off the stage by Sima Yu Ran. Arena 2 Sima family wins. The referee felt that his eyes were twitching. Why did the Sima family like to beat each other into a pig's head? There were no members of the Sima family in the last 2 groups, and the referees were relieved. Not long after, Sima Yula went up. His opponent was the Nailan clan. Perhaps it was because the Li clansmen had been beaten too harshly in the previous 2 rounds. But the Nailan clansmen looked at Sima Yula warily the moment they went up. They maintained a distance from him, preventing him from suddenly getting close. You don't have to be so cautious. I don't have my brother's close combat abilities, Sima Yula said. Your Sima family's people are too cunning. Who knows if what you said is true or not? The Nailan family's people looked at him and said, I'm not that stupid to let you get close to me. As he spoke, he called out his contracted beast and faced off against Sima Yulu with him. I'm a level 1 divine beast. I don't believe that everyone in your Sima family is a spirit emperor. I really am not a spirit saint, Sima Yula said. Haha, this time, the Sima family is dead for sure. Someone sneered, but before he could finish his sentence, he was choked back by Sima Yulu. Although I'm not a spirit emperor, I'm sorry, but I also have a divine beast. Sima Yulu called out his own contracted beast as he spoke. Of course, he called out a second-ranked divine beast, and did not call out the big bird that Sima Yu had given him back in the clan grounds. What? The Nailan family's people widened their eyes, not daring to believe that Sima Yulu also had a divine beast. Hua go, throw him off the stage, Sima Yulu ordered. Yes, master. Although Hua despised the name that he had given himself, he still attacked the opponent, who asked him to be unable to go against his master's orders. A second-ranked divine beast, although it was a little troublesome to fight 1 man and 1 beast. But it did not take long before they were all thrown off the stage. Of course, before throwing the Nailan family's people off, Hua did not forget to beat them into a pig's head. Are the Sima family really that weak? How come 3 people came up and all 3 of them won? The people on the viewing platform began to express their suspicions. If it was said that they won 1 or 2 rounds at the beginning, it could be said that it was a coincidence and luck. But if they won every single time, then it was not just luck, it was strength. Yeah, it's a little strange. I heard that the Sima family is already on the verge of collapse. The younger generation is a little weaker than the other families. How can they all be so strong? Let's continue to watch. Maybe these 3 are the only ones who are better. I don't think so. I think that the Sima family either hid their strength before, or they improved by leaps and bounds in these few years. I think so too. Maybe the Sima family will be the biggest winner among the younger generation. Some people were optimistic about the Sima family. As long as they don't win 10 rounds, they will be last. I don't believe that they can win 10 rounds. Some people were unconvinced and said, whether or not they can win 10 rounds, we will know when we continue watching. The people on the viewing platform each had their own opinions, but they all quietened down and continued to watch the later rounds of the competition. Very quickly, Sima Yuqing went up, and her opponent was the Sang family. The members of the Sang clan had never looked down on the Sima clan, especially after the previous few rounds of the competition. Don't worry, we don't have any grudges, I won't beat you into a pig's head. Sima Yuqing smiled at her opponent in a friendly manner. The Li family and Nalan family's faces darkened when they heard what she said. Did this mean that Sima Yulo and the others were purposely beating their opponents into a pig's head? Thank you. The Sang family youth was more polite and nodded at her. Let's begin. Xianfeng, come out. Lala, come out. Sima Yuqing also called out her contracted beast. 2 third-ranked divine beasts appeared on the stage and howled at the top of their lungs, then began to fight. Because the 2 of them were core disciples of the family, they didn't have much of an expression when they saw divine beasts. Sima Yuqing and her opponent didn't move, only watching their contracted beasts fight. The Sang family members saw that their spirit beasts were about to lose, and called out another second-ranked divine beast. Another divine beast? Sima Yuqing didn't think that the other party would have 2 divine beasts, and said with some surprise. Most people didn't even have 2 divine beasts, just one was already a treasure. This kind of large family would usually only have 1 divine beast, and 1 saint beast. After all, divine beasts were rare in the continent, and this person had 2 divine beasts, which meant that his position in the Sang family was extraordinary. That person nodded, saying, "That's right. Right now, I have 2 divine beasts against your 1 divine beast. I don't want to hurt you, so you should admit defeat." I don't like people who admit defeat. Sima Yuqing beamed. You have a divine beast, so do I. Fei Fei, come out. Fei Fei was one of the big birds that Sima Yu had given them the last time in the family grounds. After following Sima Yuqing, it rarely came out. 6th ranked divine beast. Seeing Fei Fei's rank, everyone was shocked. It wasn't the first time that they had seen a 6th ranked divine beast as a contracted beast. Many of the old guys here had contracted beasts that had reached this rank. But to see such a high-ranked contracted beast from a younger generation was really unexpected. The Sang family members were stunned when they saw Fei Fei, and a bitter smile flashed across their faces. How could they fight a spirit paragon-ranked divine beast? He cupped his hands towards Sima Yuqing, saying, I've lost. Chapter 318. Book title, Chapter Exposing Her Past. Author. The referee looked at the 2 people in the ring and said, Ring number 1, Sima family wins. The Sang clansmen called their contracted beasts back and nodded at Sima Yuqing before turning around to leave the stage. He won just like that. A level 6 divine beast. F***CK. I've never seen such a high-level spiritual beast in my life. That's right. It's such a high-level spirit beast, and it's a little kid's contracted beast. It's really shocking. As expected of the strength of a first-rate family, they can casually produce such a high-level divine beast. And 2 divine beasts at that. It's true that comparing yourself to others will only lead to death. We don't even have a single divine beast, but they have 2. I'm really looking forward to the Sima family competition. When the Sang family members returned home, they weren't reprimanded by their elders for admitting defeat. After all, the strength of the other party was too great for them to compete. On the other hand, the Li family and Nalan family members all pulled long faces, as if someone owed them 1,000,000 gold coins. How can the Sima family have such a mythological beast? The head of the Nalan family reprimanded an elder beside him. Didn't I ask you to pay attention to the Sima family's movements at all times? They have so many mythological beasts in their family. How could you not know? Just now, Sima Yulo had a divine beast, and Sima Yuqing had 2 divine beasts. They were not considered to be the direct descendants of the Sima family, but the others were probably not that bad. The most infuriating thing was that Sima Yuqing actually had a spirit paragon ranked divine beast. If the others had won as well, how could the competition continue? It would all be considered their victory. Patriarch, please calm down. We really did send people to pay attention to the Sima family's movements, but we really didn't see them inviting a beast tamer grandmaster to the Sima family. In these 2 years, we also didn't see them sending any mythological beasts to be tamed. An elder defended himself. Bullshit. The Nalan clan's patriarch directly swore. If they didn't, where did these people's mythological beasts come from? Sima Ke had previously told us about the strength of the Sima family and their contracted beasts. What he said didn't include these mythological beasts. I remember that this was what Sima Ke said when he came to our family 2 years ago. Could it be that the Sima family has given these divine beasts to the younger generation? An elder guessed. Impossible. I can guarantee with my life that the Sima family has never been in contact with anyone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild. The elder who was reprimanded said, "How is that possible? Could it be that these divine beasts recognize their own masters?" There were some elders who didn't believe it. As they were talking, they were suddenly shocked by the competition below. Sima Yuyang also has 2 divine beasts. Heavens, he also has a level 6 divine beast. How is this possible? The people of the Nalan family felt that this matter was too mysterious. How could the younger generation of the Sima family have so many mythological beasts? The elder who was reprimanded also didn't understand and said, "How is that possible? Nobody has seen these mythological beasts before. The information that we received from the Sima family didn't say that the Sima family had so many mythological beasts." The Nalan family leader really wanted to slap that elder to death. If they hadn't seen them before, where did these mythological beasts come from? Who tamed them? Family leader. The 4th elder's ability to gather information is known to all in the family. I think that if he said that the Sima family has never been in contact with the Beast Tamer Master, then it should be true, Nalan Lan said from the side. Her current status was different from the past, so she was able to watch the competition with the Nalan family leader. Ever since the competition ended, she had returned here and hadn't said a word. Now that she suddenly opened her mouth, everyone's attention was drawn to her. Although the Nalan family leader was furious, he couldn't vent his anger on her when he thought of her current status. He said, "But the information about the Sima family is too different from the information we received before. Without the help of a beast tamer master, I have no way of forming a contract with a person, and these mythological beasts couldn't have appeared out of thin air. I think I know what's going on," Nalan Lan said. "You know?" The elders didn't believe her and said, "Lan, you've only been in the family for a few years and have never left the family. You don't know much about the outside world." "Yes," Nalan Lan admitted and said, "I don't understand the situation here, but I understand one person." "Who?" "Sima Yue." As she said this, she glanced at Sima Yue who was on the viewing platform. The Nalan family members naturally knew who Sima Yue was. They didn't believe her and said, "Are you saying that these mythological beasts are related to her? You can't be saying that these mythological beasts were tamed by her, right?" Nalan Lan wasn't happy when faced with the elder's doubts. In fact, even she didn't want to believe this. The Nalan family leader calmed down and said, "Tell me." "Yes, family leader." Nalan Lan nodded, saying, "You all know that Sima Yu and I came from the Dongchen Kingdom. That's why I'm rather familiar with her situation. You all know that she's at least a 4th-tier alchemist, right? I'm sure everyone in Sheng City knows about this." Someone said, "Yes, the moment she came here, the news of her winning against Li Mu spread throughout the city. Everyone was amazed by her talent in alchemy. But there's one thing that you all don't know," Nalan Lan said and looked at everyone. "What?" "Sima Yue was still a trash 6 years ago who couldn't cultivate. Not to mention becoming an alchemist, she didn't even have a bit of spiritual energy." Nalan Lan's voice was very soft, but it made the entire Nalan family members fall into shock. "You're saying that she only started alchemy 6 years ago?" Nalan Lan nodded her head and said, "That's right. The fact that he is a good-for-nothing is something that everyone in the Dongqing Kingdom knows. Furthermore, 5 years ago during the Dongqing Kingdom's Emperor's Banquet, he was already able to refine second-tier pills. That is to say, in a year's time, he went from not knowing how to refine pills to a second-tier alchemist. So it's very likely that she's not just a fourth-tier alchemist. How is that possible? The Naylan family elders couldn't believe this. How could there be someone so powerful? The Naylan family leader looked at Naylan Lan and confirmed that she wasn't lying. He said, even if that's the case, what does this have to do with the Sima family's divine beast? 5 years ago, she trained a beast in front of everyone in Dongqing country. At that time, she was already able to tame a divine beast. Naylan Lan said, with her talent, I think that 5 years later, it's not impossible for her to tame a divine beast. You're saying that she's also a beast tamer. The Naylan family elders were so agitated that they lost their temper. This was simply inhuman. Why wasn't this kind of genius from their family? Not only that, I've personally witnessed her taming a beast. After she tamed a spirit beast and contracted a human, whether it was a human or a spirit beast, their spiritual energy would increase. Naylan Lan added. When the Naylan family members heard her words, their jaws dropped to the ground. Gentlemen's Assembly. Chapter 319. The elders of the Naylan family looked at Sima Yue. Did the Sima family really become like this because of her? It doesn't matter if these mythological beasts were tamed by him or not. This person cannot be left alive. The Naylan clan's patriarch said in a deep voice. Yes, just like Lanner said, her talent is too heaven-defying. If she stays, who knows what the Sima family will become? We must stop this situation. An elder said. But she has a sacred beast by her side. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get rid of her. The fourth elder said. Is that her contracted beast? The patriarch asked. No, they didn't sign a contract. It said that they only promised to protect her. The fourth elder replied. Did the sacred beast never leave? Someone asked. I rarely leave. The fourth elder said. Actually, this is the best time to act, because that sacred beast left when we were at Dragon Reflection Mountain, and did not enter the holy city. But the sacred city forbids taking people's lives. It's not like there's no way. Naylan clan's great elder, who rarely spoke, said. Great elder? The people of the Naylan clan all looked at him. Dragon Reflection Mountain trapped beast. The first elder only said 5 words, but they contained boundless killing intent. The Naylan family head's eyes lit up as he said. That's right. Sometimes we don't have to do it ourselves. Lan isn't that Li Mu pursuing you? I'll leave this matter to you. Naylan Lan naturally knew what the patriarch meant and said. Lan understands. Li Mu was allowed to come to the sacred city before the age of 20 because of his outstanding talent. He should be more familiar with the situation in the city, coupled with the conflict between him and Sima Yue. It would be a piece of cake to lure him to harm Sima Yue. Out of the 40 matches, 30 were held on the first day. There were still 10 matches left, which were held on the second day. The Li family lost the most in today's competition, especially those who met the Sima family. All of them were beaten to a pulp, which made them furious. The Sima family was slapping them in the face. Late at night, Li Mu received a message asking him to return to the Alchemist Guild. Even though he had some doubts, he still left the Li clan and rushed towards the Alchemist Guild. Woo woo woo. Suddenly there was a burst of crying. Li Mu asked someone to stop the car. This is Lanner's voice. Li Mu recognized that the crying voice belonged to Naylan Lan. He hurriedly got down from the beast carriage and found that the place where they stopped was the courtyard of the Naylan family. Miss, don't be sad. Naylan Lan's servant girl's persuasion came from within the courtyard walls. How can I not be sad? I was almost humiliated by him. If others knew, I could only kill myself to thank my parents. Naylan Lan said while sobbing. Li Mu, who was outside the wall, suddenly became anxious. Ignoring the fact that this was the Naylan family's courtyard, he immediately flew in. Sure enough, as soon as he entered, he saw Naylan Lan crying in the small courtyard's pavilion. Lanner, When he saw Nalan Lan crying, his heart immediately ached. Suddenly hearing the man's voice, Nalan Lan screamed in fright. Ah! The servant girl hurriedly came in front of Nalan Lan and scolded. How dare you? You dare to barge into the Nalan family at night. Laner, don't be afraid. It's me. Li Mu hurriedly walked over and let them see clearly that it was him. Big brother Li? Nalan Lan looked at Li Mu with some confusion. Why are you here? Li Mu saw the tears on Nalan Lan's face and couldn't help but walk over. He reached out his hand and wiped away her tears. His heart ached as he asked, Laner, why are you crying like this? Who made you sad? Originally, the one he liked was Jade. However, at Dragon Reflection Mountain, he understood that it was impossible for Jade to like him. After meeting Nalan Lan, he realized that in the past, he didn't like her at all. It was just a kind of possessiveness. However, when facing Nalan Lan, he couldn't help but fall. Nalan Lan was originally very beautiful. Now that her body was stimulated, she emitted a noble and flawless aura. It was very easy for Li Mu to be infatuated with her. Now that there was a bit of weeping beauty and a trace of grievance in her eyes, Li Mu instantly melted. He couldn't wait to immediately pull her into his arms and comfort her. Nalan Lan's tears fell again after being asked this. She turned her head and said, It's better if you don't ask. How can that be? You're crying like this. No matter who it is, I won't forgive them. Laner, say it. I'll take revenge for you. Li Mu said with righteous indignation. I can't say it. Nalan Lan said. Big brother Li, I know you're good to Lan. However, it's better if you don't ask. Otherwise, Laner can only commit suicide out of shame. When Li Mu heard her words, he felt that something was wrong. He saw that she was leaning to the side, and the red plum flower on her neck was faintly discernible. He immediately pulled her clothes and happened to reveal the lipstick mark. What are you doing? His eyes widened in surprise. He looked at the lipstick mark, and then looked at her sad face. He said in disbelief, You were taken advantage of? Nalan Lan didn't speak. She only cried. However, the servant girl at the side said, Young Master Li, it's not what you think. My family's young miss is still pure. But if this servant didn't arrive early, my family's young miss would have really been defiled by that thief. When Li Mu heard this, he let out a sigh of relief. However, what followed was a monstrous anger. He grabbed Nalan Lan's shoulders with both hands and said, Who was it? Who dared to take advantage of you? Don't ask anymore, big brother Li. Even if it's for my sake, it's better if you don't know. If that person speaks of this matter, I really won't have the face to see anyone. Nalan Lan cried and begged. No matter who it is, I want him to be unable to speak. Li Mu said, Lan, just tell me who it is. I'll take revenge for you. I'll definitely tear him into 1,000 pieces. What do you mean tear him into 1,000 pieces? Don't say such things. Although Shing City doesn't allow people to kill people, it won't be good for you if people hear it. Nalan Lan looked as if she was thinking for him. I know, Li Mu said. But I know a place where people will never return. We don't need to do anything. Naturally, we can take care of him. As he said this, Li Mu seemed to have sunk into some memories. His expression was somewhat absent-minded. Nalan Lan and the servant girl looked at each other. It seemed like he really did know. There's such a place. The astonishment on Nalan Lan's face seemed so real. Yes, Li Mu nodded and said. You should know that outsiders under the age of 20 can't enter Shing City, right? I know. Nalan Lan nodded. I've asked others before, but I didn't get an answer. That's because if you come here under the age of 20, it's easy to be bewitched and go to places you shouldn't go. Li Mu said. People born here have the aura of this place, so this kind of situation won't happen. However, it's easy for outsiders to have problems and go to places they shouldn't go. Nalan Lan was really shocked this time. Shing City had such a secret. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.